All right, everybody. This is Frederick Jones, the founder and publisher of Saturday AM, and this is the March Art Madness 2019 final round, where we will be revealing the winner of our global fan art tournament. And this is really exciting. I can't tell you guys how excited we are to finally have a chance to discuss, all the amazing artwork that has been on display throughout the tournament. Really excited about this. We've got an amazing team to be able to discuss it. These are all some of the top creators of Saturday AM, the founders of the company alongside of myself, as well as some special guests. We're going to get to all of that here in a moment. I know you guys have been waiting, so I do want to apologize to you for the delays. I don't expect any sympathy, but I will tell you that I'm suffering from a little bit of a stomach bug. Having the slightest idea how I got it, because I don't remember eating anything crazy. I'm too poor for all that. But regardless, nonetheless, definitely am not feeling my best. So we're going to kind of tread slightly here as best we can. Again, if you've been signed in, we appreciate your patience. As you guys know by now, this is kind of how it goes with Saturday AM. We're so pleased and appreciative of all of our fans, but we are a small organization, an outfit, and therefore when we do these things, it does take a moment to get all these things up and running. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we are now getting started here to go ahead and get this show underway. Give me a second here. Let me pull everything up. Get you guys looking at the proper screen. There we go. And so now we do have the screen up and running, so you guys can have a look at all the stuff we are going to be discussing today. Now, we have, this should be a fairly brisk show. We don't expect the show to go very long. We do want to touch on a few things, though, that will go beyond just looking at the final selection and group of artists who participated in this round. But we do have some special announcements that we're going to make for all the fans of Saturday AM and the various projects and things that we are involved with. So with that being said, again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. And we're going to take a moment here before we get going and just make sure that all of our fans across our various social networks know that we are live, because we are about 30 minutes behind schedule, and that is, of course, my fault. Let's see here. All right. All right, let's get going here. Okay, so first things first, you guys may not know who we are. Of course, we're Saturday AM. We're the world's most diverse comics anthology. Our focus is on creating manga-style content with very memorable characters from some of the hottest artists hailing from around the world. We're going to meet some of those artists today as we discuss all the great things that we're doing with Saturday AM, and they'll also be judging some of the amazing artwork we're going to see tonight. We've been in existence since 2013, and we have and we're let's see here. We're going to begin here. You guys can hear me, right? Or is anyone can hear me? Oh, okay, there we go. So, folks, having to check and make sure everything is working properly. But so we've been at this since 2013. In fact, we just celebrated our 100th issue. Issue 101 just came out as well. Issue 102 is actually coming out this evening. So, in fact, it was ready to go, but we had a couple of video embeds in there you guys will have a chance to get some exclusive video for the first time. And so we did not have it ready to roll. So we're going to definitely get that to you as soon as possible and make sure you guys are able to check out all the great stuff that we are doing. But Saturday AM is a digital magazine. We've been entertaining people around the world since 2013. And Saturday PM is our spinoff. We're really excited with the growth of that publication. Now, if you guys have been watching this, I want to be very, 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 very clear that tonight's episode is going to be different. This will not be like the traditional episodes that we've done. So please note that we're going to have some brand new things to talk about tonight. It is not going to be the standard, hey, look at this artwork, we talk about it, so on and so forth. We're going to get into a lot of cool stuff to go into. And so please know that this is not going to be like every previous March Art Madness episode. This year, we're going to actually go into some details. And will be available for questions at the end of tonight's presentation. Now, again, Saturday AM, the magazine, over 100 issues. You can see here some of the great and amazing covers that we've done in the past. And of course, these are just a handful of covers out of 102. We are so proud of the extraordinary artists that we've had a chance to work with over the years. Our key thing that we stand for is diversity. We care about diversity. We champion diversity. We were one of the first ones to publicly make a declaration that manga needed to evolve. And we have been pushing that and really being a part of the growth of that since 2013. We have one of Shonen Manga's first Black lead female characters with Clock Striker. We have one of the first series, popular manga style series created from a creator out of Nigeria. In fact, that creator has also created a second series that is exclusive to Saturday PM called Bakasi. We're going to have a chance to talk with Mr. White Manga here in a few moments. But you can see, particularly with the cover from issue 100, again, just the level of sheer diversity that is prevalent with all the characters that we have exclusive to our magazine. The latest issues are now available. Again, if you are a subscriber, you will receive Saturday AM issue number 102 later this evening, as soon as this broadcast finishes. Likewise, Saturday PM issue number 4 has come out last week. We are extremely proud of it. We have a lot of plans building for Saturday PM, and this issue features what we think will be a brand new hit series for the magazine and a really kind of anchor for the magazine. The way that Saturday AM has a couple of series that are very, very, very specific to Saturday AM. People recognize it as being a part of Saturday AM. We think that Underground by new artist J.R. DeBard is going to be the same thing. We're really excited about this MMA sort of series behind you. So we're really, really excited about this. So again, Saturday AM issue number 102 is going to be available to subscribers this evening. And Saturday PM issue number 4 is available right now. You can go to any of these websites and check it out. In fact, if you want the information on how to get the stuff, feel free to check out any of these links you see here. If you want to subscribe, which helps Saturday AM continue to function and have the growth that we're having, then feel free to subscribe. You can get a subscription to Saturday AM for as low as $5. But if you subscribe at the premium level, it gives you Saturday AM and Saturday PM, and it gives you some bonuses. And those are some of the things we're going to discuss tonight in some of the special announcements that we're going to make this evening. Likewise, if you just want to read the latest issue for free, you can do that. It does happen a little bit after it's available for people who subscribe, but you can do that at the link where it says latest. And then last but not least, if you want to buy any issue, of course, if you don't get the issue in time, you can do that. And of course, that is www.saturday-am.com/issues. Saturday AM, the series have become extremely popular and people have wanted to collect them in graphic novel format. So of course you can do that. We are making the graphic novels more prevalent. We've got obviously Apple Black Volume 1 and 2, Sagami Volume 1 and 2, Mutton Chop Volume 1, and more. We're working hard to get these books soon into retail stores and libraries near you, but you can definitely find any of these graphic novels and more, and including some new ones that will be coming soon, on our website or Amazon. So if you're looking to get the complete story of any of these individual series, you can do so right now. Go to our website or go to Amazon, and soon you will find them in your local comic book stores, bookstores, and library. March Art Madness is huge for us, folks. The legacy of it, as we've talked about, is significant. We have some pretty amazing things happening with it. Miles O'Brien won our first year in 2016. William Peterson from Sweden won in 2017. And Mr. Bailey Boutel won in 2018 from Australia. You can see the amazing artwork that he created in the very final round, or the fourth round, sorry, that just really took him really into the final and was able to showcase just how awesome of an artist he is. Bailey's here tonight. We're going to talk to Bailey here shortly, but we're super excited at the legacy that Saturday AM March Art Madness has done, because it allows us to discover and allows new creators to be discovered from literally around the world. We find that extraordinary that we're in that position of discovering amazing talent like that. The important dates: we began the tournament with the pre-tournament in February, and we are culminating tonight, April 16th. The tournament began slightly later in March than we had intended, but it's fairly normal if you look at March Madness from the NCAA here in North America. That tournament also doesn't begin right at the start of March. It happens in the middle of March. I think the key thing for us and what makes us so excited about this event is that the event not only has gotten bigger every single year with more and more artists applying to be a part of the tournament, but the biggest thing that impresses us about the event is that it continues to just be a huge opportunity for us to reach new people, a huge opportunity for new people to be discovered. And this year in particular, we had nearly 30 people between staff and creators helping us to operate this event. Even with that, it is still a monumental task. And that's why I want to give a special shout out to all the individuals who helped us, particularly Jackie, Jackie, who's one of our interns, Morgan Walker, one of our artists, of course, all the judges who are here today, the two gentlemen who create our great series, Mutton Chop, a lot of our creators and staff, including some of our editors and writers and interns. We had a number of folks who stepped up to make the event happen this year. We're really proud of that. And again, even with that, it was really difficult, but we're really proud of what we've been able to do this year. And we are super excited as to what's to come of March Madness. Again, this year has some different features to it. We had comic pages for the first time. People had to create comic pages. We had character swaps. We had mythological creatures, monsters. The biggest thing that we had were ranking powers, so people can actually, if they continue to place high each week in the matchups that they had, they were in a position to then choose a different thing to draw. We saw several times throughout this year where the ranking powers probably would have helped a few artists had they executed them. So it's a really interesting thing. We got a lot of feedback about it where people felt really excited about the prospect of it. And again, this is one of the things that makes March Art Madness and the Saturday AM experience with the art tournament so unique. This is just something you just don't see anywhere else. Again, if you don't know the March Art Madness tournament, this is a single elimination tournament, meaning that every single week you have to draw a new piece of artwork depending on whether or not you won the previous week. It's 5 weeks of this sort of event. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And as a result of that, really some of the best artists come out of it, as we've seen. And having these new features really made this year's event even more difficult for some really amazing artists than years previous. March Art Madness. This year we had a great sponsor of Chameleon. They are a marker company. They make art supplies, art products where you can create amazing artwork thanks to the sort of products they engineer, things from colored pencils to markers and a variety of other tools. We were so proud to work with Chameleon this year. In the past, we worked with companies like Plask, Illo Sketchbooks, 21 Draw, and others. And we are so excited this year to have a company of the size of Chameleon, by far the biggest company that has ever chosen to work with Saturday AM. And to have them and have their support has just been a really amazing experience for us this year. We are really excited about the potential of working with them in the future. And this was a big year for us having these guys in. So the prizes this year will be Illo Sketchbooks once again, 21 Draw. We also will be giving one lucky winner a one-shot from the one and only Jay Oden, as well as some other prizes that will come from Saturday AM. Likewise, Chameleon has offered a complement of some of their amazing markers and color tops, which are these really interesting blending products that allow you to kind of shift the color iterations that you want to have for this. So we're really excited about what Chameleon has offered up, and we think this will be a really exciting product and prize for those who win it. Of course, the grand prize is a Apple iPad, including the Apple Pencil, and so this is really cool, and we're really excited about that. And we think this will be something. Of course, if you are an artist today, there's just nothing like being able to create content with a portable art studio. And so that's what we found the iPad to be. Many of us use the iPad for creativity, as well as other products like tablets and so forth, but really love the iPad. And so we're really excited about being able to offer that as a grand prize to the grand prize winner. Now, if you want to try the Chameleon marker, you can do that. Please go to our sponsor. Their website, of course, is www.chameleonartproducts.com, and you can get 10% off of a purchase you make there, whether you're buying colored pencils, markers, or the color tops, or other products that they have. You can save 10% by using the offer code SATAM. We hope that that everyone will try that. Again, these guys believe in what we believe in terms of diversity and bringing more people to the table for creating art. But more importantly, they're really cool people, and that's something that, you know, we haven't got to work with anybody. We work with people that we want to work with. And when we meet people who legitimately care about discovering new creators and legitimately are fun, cool people, if you've ever seen us on our Instagram videos, you know how crazy we get. So it means a great deal to us. So please check out these guys, go to their website. And if you choose to purchase something, use the offer code and save yourself some money. Chameleon Art Products. Again, we want to thank Chameleon for supporting this year's March Art Madness. Now, the judges, of course, they include myself. I'm the founder and publisher of Saturday AM. I've created some of our series, including massively multiplayer World of Ghosts, which features Shonen Manga's first Indian lead character. And I've created Clock Striker, which is Shonen Manga's first Black female lead character. All the art you're going to see are made with markers like Chameleon by the one and only Jay Oden. This is Clock Striker. Of course, you want to follow us. These are our Instagram handles. Feel free to check us out, follow us. We announce and talk about a lot of cool things throughout our social media. Our next judge is, of course, the artist of these great pieces you're going to see here, Jay Oden. He, of course, is the creator of Hammer for Saturday AM. Jay, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well, man. I'm just ready and psyched for this tournament.
You sound super psyched. I've got a stomach bug. You sound super psyched. All right. Well, Jay, thank you for being with us tonight. Jay has been on every single one of these judge projects this year, so really excited about that. I want to thank Jay for just giving so much time to the group. Really appreciate that. It says a lot about Jay's character and his support to Saturday AM. Next up is the one and only White Manga. White Manga, one of the original creators with Saturday AM, one of the founders of the company, the creator of Apple Black, the creator of Saturday PM series Bakassi. White is here for the first time this year. White, you've had a chance to witness this from the sidelines while working on all your other stuff. How are you doing tonight? And tell us a little bit about what you've seen thus far at the tournament. We'll get into specifics, but just give us a general concept about what you thought so far at the tournament and how you're doing.
As you know, for many reasons, this year. Well, before I get into that, I think everything's been great. Thanks for having me. You've been doing a hell of a job, Fred. Even though there's a lot of everybody's plate is like full, and as you've already mentioned, that we are not a huge company, but we still make it happen, and you still make it happen. So shout out to Fred. Everybody shout out to Fred. For March Art Madness this year, definitely has been the biggest year, and other years have been successful as well. So it's great to see it. The artwork and the setup and the new things, the new ideas and features that have come with this year's tournament, I think is really great. And so glad to be a part of it. And all the artwork has been great. Artwork is great to look at, and everybody who's participated, I'd like to thank everyone who has. And I think they've done a great job so far. Definitely the best outing so far, and glad to be a part of it. For me, I've been doing good. As you know, everything is hectic, and we try to make it work. I actually have been ill for the past couple days, but I'm coming out of it, and I feel much better now. So that's it.
Well, that's good. And folks, of course, we're going to, again, this is going to be faster than you guys have experienced last few episodes. So we're going to, we're going to get to it. We're going to make some big announcements tonight, and we will have time, just a little bit of time at the end for some questions. So if you have questions for people like Wyatt or Jay and other creators, please hold them until the end of the broadcast. And yes, we want you to be here for the whole broadcast. Absolutely. All right. Next up, we have Miss Andrea. Now, folks, her last name was Doney, but I mean, what was Voros now is Doney, because Andrea, our great friend, our great creator, and an owner in the company, one of the people who helped us found the company, even though she came right after we started the magazine. Andrea recently got married, so we're really proud of her. Andrea, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, thank you. Super excited. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this will go down. So yeah.
Very good. And so Andrea Voros, of course, was creator of Saigami. Great series there. Of course, again, this is a marker illustration done by Jay Oden, who did some great fan art of all of our series. Next up, we have the cantankerous old man, Raymond Brown. He is, again, one of the co-founders of Saturday AM, one of the owners in the company. He's an old man. He's an old bitter man, but he's a good guy. Raymond, how you doing tonight? Creator of Bull Eater, how you doing tonight, Raymond?
Pretty good. Glad to be here.
All right, so you can see here we've got our group that helped us start the company, people who've been here from the very beginning. And of course, Jay Oden, who feels like he's been here since the very beginning because he's been so indelible in the stuff that we've done. And we've got amazing artists outside of that. Again, I want to give a big shout out again to people like Morgan Walker and Tony Dawkins and Blake Showers, who's of course a big deal. And so many of our creators, all of them are just amazing. But tonight we have a special guest judge. And this is someone I think that really is really interesting because I think they capture, again, kind of the essence of Saturday AM. This is someone who discovered both their own opportunity with art and discovered their own ability to be a great artist via March Art Madness, via Saturday AM. And that is, always the thing that matters most to me is, being a much older person than a lot of the artists that you've heard tonight. There are a few things that you take with you when you shut this whole thing down, whether you retire or pass away or what or just whatever. But there are a few things in life you take with you. But legacy is something that matters. I think as you get older, you come to realize that. And the ability to say that we had a role in helping artists uncover what they were good at and uncover their opportunities. By the way, that includes harsh criticism. I think we're going to talk about that later, but I think we've seen too many people who unfortunately get caught in their feelings sometimes when someone who truly cares about what happens to them tells them the truth. And sometimes the truth doesn't always isn't what you want to hear. But the truth about this artist is that we weren't sure when we first saw his art. We thought he was talented. Then we didn't know if he drew the next image because it was so dramatically better than the first image. And then since then, we have simply marveled at his growth as an artist. And we hope to have a chance to work with this young man in the future. He's always been appreciative of March Art Madness. And that's, again, something that we appreciate, that level of humility. Let's give it up for Mr. Bailey Boutel. Otherwise known as, I don't know how you said it. Is it Kurolines?
It's Kurolines, like Kuro as in like Japanese. It means black, and lines. It was inspired by my love for manga. Thanks for the great intro, Fred. I don't think I'll be able to follow that up very well. So I'll just say go check out my art at Kurolines on Instagram. And I'm really happy to be here with all these people that I greatly respect. And I'm excited to get into this.
Excellent. All right. So, folks, these are your judges tonight. We've got people who really represent the nucleus of Saturday AM, and we've got someone who has been a part of what we've done with Saturday AM and March Art Madness. And so this is it. So we're going to get into it. But first, we'll talk about Chameleon. Jay, tell us a little bit about Chameleon. What were your experiences in using the markers? You recently used them. We have a video up on our YouTube channel. Give us a little thoughts about what you experienced in using the markers and what you think makes the markers interesting.
Well, I think these markers are fantastic if you really like having fun coloring. They have an amazing blending ability with their color tops. It's kind of a learning curve. I'm not gonna lie. The first time I used them, it's kind of difficult trying to get all the timing down. But I totally recommend them, especially if you like coloring in coloring books, or if you want to draw your own images and, just see what you can make. They're alcohol-based markers, so they work exactly like Copics, as well as also having that extra added feature with the gradients and the color tops. I totally recommend checking out the video that I made for the Saturday AM channel. If you check that out, you can see how I use them. I briefly talk about it, and hopefully in the future I can make a a review video soon. So, yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, yeah. And I must tell you, Jay, you did a great job. You did such a really good job, and the comments were so great on it and stuff. So again, folks, if you've not had a chance on this very channel you're watching this on, please go check out the video that Jay did for us. Jay's also got a tutorial in issue 102. Again, if you're a subscriber, you're going to get it. So please, folks, check it out. We're just incredibly proud and excited, with the work that Jay does. So check it out, and you guys have a chance to see why we're excited about Chameleon. Now, speaking of Chameleon, they actually recognized an artist each week that they felt just did amazing color work. So these are separate awards that they have recognized, and they did, for the fifth and final round tonight. We're going to reveal who their favorite artist was of that round, and that does affect the vote. We'll talk about that later. But regardless, let's profile at least a few of the artists here who they recognize. From round one, Ambar Naruto Freck from Puerto Rico had this gorgeous image. This featured all the Nintendo characters. One of my favorite images easily of the tournament. I want to give a big shout out to Ambar for this. Does anyone else agree about this is a gorgeous image? For those folks who weren't here when we did that, like Wyatt or Bailey, did you guys like this piece? Did you guys, is there anything about this piece that really stood out to you?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, all the characters, it's really fun. I'm a big fan of Smash Bros. Yeah, it's great. Good job, Amber.
Oh yeah, this was a solid piece showing all the characters, showing all the characters showing some character as well. Playing funny enough, a Nintendo DS, which I actually recently just got. But yeah, it's a fun piece to look at.
Totally agree. Round two was Harukami Art. And folks, again, you're going to see here just the diversity we're talking about in terms of where these folks are from. Harukami Art from Germany. This was a My Hero Academia versus One Punch Man. They really liked just the kind of color iterations of this. And I know there's a few people that talked about the colorations of this before when we did. I think Morgan was impressed with the color of this when we did that chat that night. I got to say that, Harukami Art, I think, is an amazing artist. I love his first round image. This wasn't one of my favorite ones that he did, because, again, the first round I thought was really cool with the motion blur stuff. But I have to admit that the cell shading and stuff here does look really good. Does anyone want to offer any additional thoughts on this piece?
I thought it was also a solid piece showing, really popular characters that a lot of people can get engaged with. But just looking at it, a fun piece, fun fantasy thing to pair two popular characters against one another. So yeah, overall, loved it. The coloring is pretty good too.
Round three was from Celestial Pulse here in America. She's actually one of our finalists tonight. And this was, again, one of my favorite pieces of the tournament. This was a piece involving our round three. We had the NCAA March Madness college mascots. They all, they had to draw the mascots, and the team won. They got extra bonus points and so forth. And this was a really good, this was a good one. This had some great artwork on it, some beautiful lighting. I love the spotlights at the top. this is just a really great image here and so forth. Raymond, I feel like, even though I know you don't know anything about sports, I feel like you would appreciate this piece.
Yeah, I mean, everything about it has a lot of energy. I mean, it looks like a free frame from a game, from a basketball game. I know it's a basketball game.
Folks, give Hitman credit that he knew this was basketball.
Yeah, he's totally about to score a touchdown right now.
That's right, exactly. About to kick a field goal. Round 4 was Rachel M. Brady art, also from the United States. This was a piece that we discussed quite a bit. It's got a cute little kind of story to it, and the characters actually look, I said this about Rachel's work earlier in the tournament, and I highly, folks, again, I'll say this again all night. Even though the tournament ends tonight, the page stays up. It also links you to all the previous years of the tournament. I highly recommend, instead of poking around Instagram and so forth, that if you want to see some really great original artwork generated based off popular concepts or characters from artists around the world that you may not know about, there's a reason why those pages do very well for us, because people really love looking at those artwork, the artworks generated from our tournament. And I highly recommend you go back and look at some of the amazing artwork that Rachel did. Rachel, I did not know her prior to the tournament, not seen her work, but I loved her Wolverine and Batman here. They felt like just 90s accurate, kind of big comic booky figures. I wish, I think the reason she didn't particularly win on this one is I wish that perhaps the camera had been changed throughout each panel. We got maybe a chance to see their body and so forth. But based on the work that Rachel's done, Rachel's a really dynamic artist, and her style is really awesome. It's static, it's traditional, but it's really cool. So they really like this piece here, and she's going to win a package from Chameleon Art Supplies. Again, Raymond, since you're a big superhero American fan, any thoughts on this piece? I know you weren't on this chat.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it definitely takes you back to the 90s, back where every superhero had a million pouches on them. So, I mean, makes me feel like I'm reading an old school 90s image comic.
Right. Forgot about all of the pockets and stuff. Yeah, Rob Liefeld effect. Okay, all right. So we will reveal the 5th round, the winner of the 5th round Color Tops award. But now it's time for our first special announcement, and that is about Summer of Manga. Now, Summer of Manga, this is kind of the next big thing that we work on. We know that many folks look forward to this event each year, and we're very excited about Summer of Manga this year. You can see brand new logo, brand new sort of look and feel to it. This is going to take a lot of cues from our new subscription process. So as we indicated before, if you subscribe to Saturday AM, if you want to read Saturday AM, you don't have to subscribe anymore. The magazine is made available in a new interactive format on our website for free. And you can go there and check out the magazine. But now, if you want to go and actually get involved and get engaged with the content and have a chance to participate in other things that we do, then subscribing in particular is a really good process. And so this year, Summer of Manga is going to really lean into that. So this year, we're accepting 10-page short story submissions. So if someone wants to submit content, we will have a chance to run with that content. But if you have a longer submission, 30 pages or so, then you must be a premium subscriber. And there's a couple of reasons for that. I know people are like, well, man, that shouldn't matter and so forth. And it ultimately doesn't. I mean, if you submit 10 pages to it, it's really great. Then we'll admit you, and then we'll give you a page count. But if someone, is desperate for us, and we get this a lot, where people are desperate for us to read really long stories, and we just don't have the time. It's like between something like a March Art Madness, the Kickstarter projects that we've got to finish for Kickstarter backers, and producing 2 magazines, not to mention the books, it's really hard to do all of these things. And so, particularly if someone, who we might not be familiar with wants us to just sit and read a 45, 60 page story. So we think this is a better way to do it. This really also makes it, provides that incentive and gives someone really that ability to say, look, I think you guys will like what I have. I've got more story to tell, which you have to put everything in proper context. So I'm going to submit more. And that's perfectly fine, because obviously it's kind of like, you're paying us for it, so why not? So that's kind of what that does. And we think it makes it a lot stronger of an opportunity for folks to do that. Now, being a premium subscriber gives you other advantages. We'll talk about that in a minute. But regardless, this is one of the first ways that this will happen. It must be original concepts. Again, must be original concepts. We're not going to take fan stories or fan fiction. This has to be your character. This has to be an original character design. The story has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so this has to occur. Now, pitches may be submitted beginning April 19th, which is this Saturday. So we will soon have a link on our website. You'll be able to go there and begin to send pitches to us. And again, we'll start reviewing the pitches. In fact, the reviews of the pitches will occur on our podcast, Saturday FM, which the first episode of that drops next week. So as we get the pitches in, we'll review them, we'll discuss them and so forth. And again, folks, as I said earlier, if you don't want a critical analysis of what you do, if you're not really ready for someone to give you a truly critical view of what you produced, I would argue you've never seen one of our videos before, then don't submit to us. There's plenty of places you can go. Because we take it seriously, and we want other people to take it seriously, the companies that we work with and the artists that listen to us and follow us. So with that being said, please, if you're going to be a part of that scenario, please make sure that you go in and read the rules carefully. And again, we won't post the rules until April 19th, and you can submit starting April 19th if you like. But make sure that you read the rules and so forth and understand what's expected of you, so that you know what you're getting in for. Stories that we agree to publish after we discuss it with the creators, if we choose to discuss it more with the creator, those will begin to get published inside of issue 105. So again, Summer of Manga is a short story event, kind of like March Art Madness. Basically, you submit to us a story, we will publish it inside of Saturday AM. We're super excited about it. A lot of our fans are excited about it. We discovered some amazing creators through this process, including Jeffrey John Luis, who does a series for us right now in Saturday PM called Yellow Stringer. So if you are an artist who's like, man, I know I can get in Saturday AM, well, this is really your chance to do it. It is a process. Just because you submit something doesn't mean that we accept you. And just because you submit something doesn't mean that we're going to be thankful you submitted it and just tell you everything glowingly. We're going to review it the way we review anything else, and we're going to be very upfront with you about what we like, what we didn't like, what we think you need to improve upon, and what we think you have a chance to do with the story. If we feel like we're not the best publishing house as well, if we feel like you should do this as a webcomic on your own, then we'll tell you that. Like, I mean, we've had artists who are really talented who we think could help us do a lot of business, but that we just felt like what they were publishing wasn't in league with what we currently do. So again, this is not a personal thing for us. Our critical analysis is based on professional conduct. Our view is just, at the end of the day, we just want to do the right thing for the creator. And sometimes the right thing is harshness, being just harsh and upfront. Sometimes the right thing is providing pointers on what they need to do to fix what they're doing. And in some cases, the reality is just to say, hey, you need to go somewhere else with that, because you'll have better success outside of us. So again, Summer of Manga 2019 officially kicks off this weekend. You'll find information on the website this week. And we start publishing it this summer, beginning our June issue number 105. And we're super excited about it. So if you guys have additional questions, and there are more facts about Summer of Manga, we will reveal those this week when we make the blog post, and you guys will be able to find it. So please make sure you come back to our website and discover the things that you need. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to contact us there or tonight at the end of the broadcast. Now, one last set of awards we want to talk about are our diverse awards. And these are where we're going to give away some things that are not connected to Chameleon. These are some things that we have, such as tanks or other things that we provide creators. And this is what we're providing based on some talent that we've seen that we thought deserved to have some additional recognition. Scion Arts from St. Lucia. First of all, super excited this year that we had so many creators from around the world. These are creators who literally came from every part of the planet. That makes me really happy and really proud. And then on top of that, not only do we have creators from over 16 countries, we had creators who are for the highest percentage of female creators we've ever seen inside of March Art Madness were in this year's tournament. Scion Arts from St. Lucia, U.S. Virgin Islands is one of them. I thought this piece that she did from round 2 was absolutely gorgeous. She definitely had a chance to be in the final. And so we want to recognize her amazing art. We'll be sending her a package. Likewise, is Poopsie. This is an artist from the United States. We found her art to be really fun. Her first round, she did a beautiful Batman piece. She didn't make it past the first 2 rounds, but I thought this piece was really good. This is Ron Mahalf, for those of you who remember that. And guys, as I'm going through this judges, if you want to throw in a comment or two, let me know. We got a few of these to hit, but if you guys want to just give your own thoughts about the artwork, let me know. Let's see. Next up, we have Audrey Scribbles. It was hard to just choose one Audrey Scribbles image, and frankly, I could have chosen at least 2 of them. She made it to our 3rd round. One thing that Audrey Scribbles did that was so extraordinary was that she produced images that always had lots of stuff going on to it. Very few artists have that skill set where they can actually make you just study a page or a panel or illustration. Audrey Scribbles has that. Again, another female creator. Really proud of her work that she produced in the tournament. She was always on time. I felt this creator deserves so much credit for what she produced, and I was really proud that she was in the tournament, and we'll certainly be recognizing her as well.
Yeah, I think her and all the artists part of the tournament did a great job, because it's very difficult to be able to release all these content and release it on time and still try to achieve quality work. So shout out to all of them.
Absolutely. Next up is Jason S. Now, Jason S. is a finalist tonight, but I would be remiss if I did not point out the piece that he did round 2. I think this is perhaps the strongest piece that we've ever had inside of Saturday AM March Art Madness. Of course, that would be tough because you got Bailey Boutel and you've got Kiara Reddy, and you've got Amber Valdez Council, Amber Naruto Freck is her name. But this piece to me is just because there's so the more I look at it, the complexity of colors, the fact that he's working off of like a purple color palette and he still gets variations to the color. I just find that I don't know. This is one of my favorite pieces that we've ever had in the tournament. Does anybody want to comment on just how amazing this piece was?
I probably said this already in the actual live chat when we were doing this, but I mean, it is, the longer you look at it, the better it gets. I mean, I totally agree. I love the subtleness of like all the skulls in the background as well. Like it really is a great piece. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, just like I said, I look at it and I'm just in awe every time I see it. And you're right. The more you look at it, the more you discover.
It gets 5 foots from me.
But 5 foot, yes. 5 foot. That's a good scoring system. Raymond, you never again, you weren't a judge in any of these tournaments. At least I think you were judge the second week. What did you make of this? Or maybe did you judge this week or?
I wasn't for this one, no. But
yeah.
Ryuk, he's just the star of the show with this one. You can't take your eyes off of him. There's so much to look at just with Ryuk. If you just look at the detail there and the color, and just so much to look at. Just looking at Ryuk is crazy.
Totally agree. Again, amazing piece. Let's see. Next up, we have Bezan Artist. I love this guy. First of all, Jason S., by the way, I'm sorry. He's from the United Kingdom. Bezan Artist. I love this guy. He is from Iraq. So incredibly proud of this artist. There were many pieces of art that he did that I liked a lot. But we found out when he did this piece, which I think was round 2, that he did this on a phone. And that just, I didn't know it. And again, as a judge, there's no way for me to know it unless they tell us. He did it with his finger on his phone. This is such an amazing piece. This is, again, like I can't reiterate to you guys how again, you guys are going to have ups and downs in your artistic careers. Those of you who pursue them and are successful at having them, you'll have ups and downs. That's art. But these are the sorts of things that you see. Just like if you're a basketball player and you see a basketball player who's not you, who's on an opposing team maybe, or maybe not even playing professionally yet. Maybe you see him in high school or in college, but they do something that just shows such a deft amount of skill that it makes you inspired as an artist. Like it inspires you. And I think that's the deal with this piece. It was it's just, like I said, I thought it was a really interesting piece. There obviously there were issues with it, but then when you realize that he did it with his fingers, like you can't not recognize that. And then of course the fact, again, this is an artist from Iraq. I love the fact that the brand and what we're doing has reached that far to where we've got fans and creators out of Saudi Arabia, out of Egypt, out of Iraq and Kuwait and other places. It's just awesome. It's just so awesome. So hats off to Bezan Artist. We'll be sending him a package. 99 Violence from India. 99 Violence had a couple of images as well that I thought were really, really good. His first round was an Altered Carbon. But even though this one had faults that people had with it and didn't like, I just, I like this piece personally. It's such a great deal. I think, first of all, I think that it feels like a computer game. It feels like, and again, I'm old, but it feels like a computer game I would see like in the 90s. There's something about it that just feels, very static, but in a fun way. Kind of like Rachel in Brady art, whose artwork's very static. It doesn't ever come across as very dynamic. It's always kind of like, posed. But the how it's put together and some of the aspects of it just really appealed to me. I love some of the color in here. I love just kind of the absolute, just the weirdness of how that thing looks. Even though it's obviously very bizarre, but there's still a weirdness to it that appeals to me. I just thought it was such a great piece, and hats off to 99 Violence from India. This is a great piece, and I'm glad again that we've reached India and attracted so many great artists out of India. Last year we had a young man named Karthik Sainsay, who was incredibly talented as well. JP Eba Adan out of Philippines is always, we've seen him for years. He's always a great artist. This piece from Luke Cage is still one of my favorite fan art pieces that I've seen because it truly is the character. A lot of times you can look at fan art and, either it's identical, right? Like, they've copied a pose or copied literally an image from someone else, which, happens. That's inspiration. Sometimes you get inspired, not quite in the right way. But this is an image of Luke Cage. I've seen a lot of Luke Cage art. I've never seen an image like this. This is an image of Luke Cage. Instinctively it's Luke Cage. And like all the little touches to it are just great. The color even is kind of dynamic with it. I wish there was more that he did. That's one reason why JP Eba didn't make it farther in the tournament. But I wish there was more stuff he did with the background, things like that. But this is a great piece. And I just really love just the look and feel. Like you feel the power of Luke Cage with this. You feel the intensity of his character with the way he's staring at you. I just think it's great. And hats off to JP Eba for doing that in the Philippines. Rachel Ann Brady art. This is one of the pieces I was talking about. This is just a great piece. Again, you can see just the musculature. It feels very similar to what you would see like with the traditional American comic book. It's very big, brawny sort of characters. But I did love this piece a great deal. I'm glad Rachel got recognized by Chameleon, but we were going to recognize Rachel as well because, again, another great female creator doing artwork that I think a lot of times people think of female creators just doing kind of like shoujo-ish sort of work. But Rachel is proof that female artists, can be every bit as dynamic as any other type of artist. And so this was one of my favorite pieces that she did through the tournament. Ambar Naruto Freck, again, she got recognized by Chameleon, but I felt it would be ridiculous to not recognize her for this Sailor Moon piece. Again, one of the Ambar's, one of her strongest suits that is extremely important if you were going to be somebody who, goes far in this tournament is color. It's not like the be all end all, but someone who's a really good colorist can go far. And Ambar can color stuff like nobody's business. It just, for her not making it into the final round, which I think is, it could she could very well could have done that. But again, this was a great Sailor Moon piece. Her anime stylings is so authentic that Ambar's great. I mean, just when she does something, she captures it to a T. And I thought this piece deserves so much recognition for that. Anybody gonna add something?
Yeah, so she's definitely a solid artist in my book.
Absolutely. I'm hoping that we'll have a chance to work with Ambar in the future. Go ahead, John.
This was one of my favorite pieces, so I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite piece was a piece that Chameleon recognized. I mean, that Nintendo piece. I'm not even a Nintendo fan, and that piece was just incredible because like just the color, just because it's even got this thing where it's like they're standing in a room clearly, and so like the ceiling must be near because everyone in the top is kind of like darkened, but then and like Mega Man's helmet's lit up and stuff. So there's so many like things that she did in that one piece that you just have to, just be amazed at. But this piece again is really, really dynamite. George O. Brooks from the U.S. came out of nowhere. He had a great first round piece. His second round piece, I didn't think it was that great. And this fourth round piece, he just got pretty much blown out by Celestial Pulse. But this was, again, great artists start somewhere. And one of the places they start is being able to deliver out of maybe every 5 pieces, a piece that really is extraordinary. This piece really was extraordinary. There are so many little things that one can point to in this piece, from the helmet and the gloss on the helmet to where it gives it that physical definition, to the dynamic body pose of the actual Boilermaker, to the stopping of the basketball and the speed line on the fingers, to the fisheye camera lens, to the floor and the gloss on the floor. I mean, if we were giving away an award for an individual piece, in terms of being the best in the tournament, this would be up there. And again, this just speaks to why I think this tournament is so awesome, because you can be an artist like George O. Brooks, who, I don't know how old George is. I don't know, how long he's been drawing. He clearly is talented. But there are other artists who either have more experience or just are at this point more talented than he is. And that's why he's not in the final 4. But on any given night, in one-off scenario, this young man could have destroyed, because this was a really, really dynamite piece. This is one of my favorite pieces in all of March Art Madness. A really, really, really great piece.
I'll say with George, easy for me. Going through the tournament, top 3 artists in the whole thing. And I've actually come across George's stuff for years. I think I've known George for, I say 6 or maybe 7 years online, and like seen his stuff. And he's actually done he probably has the most experience comic wise than anybody who submitted anything this year.
Wow, that's interesting. Then
doing comic, he's actually published some books.
Well, that's interesting then, because that's an interesting piece, right? Because that 4th round piece he did wasn't his strongest work, and I think that what that shows you then is exactly why, as I said a few minutes ago, why this tournament is so unique, because you do have to produce the work every week. You have to produce new work every week. Take Ambar and Naruto Freck. We just talked about Ambar and how amazing Ambar is. Ambar is easily one of the top 3 artists in this whole tournament. And yet you see with her, 1 week where you just don't deliver the best piece you can, and you get knocked out. And that possibly was the case with George then in that final week, because the page layout, which was hard to do to begin with, and that's one of the reasons we had it in there. It's a hard thing to do. But that was not some of his best work. But I mean, if you're saying that he's actually done some work in the past, I want to look at more of his stuff. He got into the tournament out of 200 some people between preliminary and the regular submissions. So it speaks to his talent level. But that's interesting. I would like to see more of his work then.
Yeah, I agree. I'll say with the sequential art that he did, maybe the layout I think was maybe the weakest thing. But I actually thought everything else was pretty solid.
That first round piece he did was great. That was a Kingdom Hearts piece. That was really good. Stratemeyer Art, and I forget where Stratemeyer Art is from, so I do apologize for that. I do very much apologize for that, Stratemeyer Art. I forget where you're from, but I know you're from somewhere. Silly as that sounds. Let's see if I can pull it up while I'm talking. There we go. He's from the Philippines. I didn't like the face on He-Man here, but man, that pattern in the background and the pattern that just basically informs the entire piece, except for maybe a little bit of He-Man, is amazing. And had he shrunk He-Man and put him, further into the distance, so we actually felt like he was coming from somewhere, particularly with the stylized nature of Skeletor, this was a great. I still think about this piece sometimes and how good this piece was, even though there were some choices made that I didn't agree with. But this is a really, really, really great piece. Inside of my art, if you look at all the 3 weeks he was in the tournament, each one of his pieces had just a level of unique color work and really dense sort of line work that I thought was really interesting and cute. And it was distinctive. He was one of the most distinctive artists in the tournament. Big hats off to him. Pondo Kuma. Now Pondo Kuma had a few. He got in late at least once in the tournament, but Pondo Kuma clearly has talent. This piece, I thought, had he not got in late, would have won the matchup that he was in. Really great piece. Pondo Kuma's from the U.S., I believe. Really great piece. I love the facial expression on Shaggy. Absolutely love the facial expression on Shaggy. So this is great. This is just a great piece, and hats off to Pondo Kuma. I fully expect to see more of this guy.
I never really understood how the Shaggy thing became like a big meme or whatever, but that one really was cool. Like that one really made me want to look into just kind of what in the world people are doing with Shaggy. I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Totally agree. Yaro Shami Art, I want to give a big shout out to this guy. This guy's color work. Now, this guy, what is he using? Jay, Andrea, White, what is he using? Because the color work is each one of his pieces. He did a Disney piece the first week. He did this the second week. And I'm trying to remember what he did the third week. But each one of his pieces, the color work was just extraordinary. This young man's from Israel, by the way, which is one of our first artists from Israel. What is he doing here? Because his color work is so amazing. It's clearly not digital because I can see stuff in it. But what was this? This isn't colored pencil? Is it marker?
It looks like marker to me, but there might also be colored pencil work in there as well. It's just a mixture of awesome talent and traditional products. I mean, this artist was amazing. The Hades picture before this and this one were absolutely incredible.
Yeah, the Hades picture was extraordinary. I thought he did a piece of third week. I got to go back and look, but yeah, the Hades pick was really good too. So that and this were just, I mean, this, as I said, I was very much in love with this artist and his color work. I think towards the end here, Monkey Monk, one of our favorite creators out of South Africa. I've been a fan of hers for years. She's been participating with Saturday AM since like 2014, maybe. She's changed her style a little bit in recent years, but I love the body diversity that we have going on with a lot of her art. I remember she, and again, this is one of the things about art that always, again, one of the things with Saturday AM that people really love is that when we say we stand for diversity, we stand for diversity. And so we posted a piece that she did from last year featuring the Disney princesses. And there were a number of people who were maligning her. I guess these are some of the alt-right fanboys or whatever, because the women, had muscles and they didn't look dainty and or didn't have giant breasts. I mean, literally posting this crap and this nonsense on our Instagram page. And of course, we took care of that, but and defended the artist. But I love creators who are doing diverse things. And this artist, her color work is fantastic. Sometimes I don't always agree with her choices, but her color work is fantastic. And I just thought that I love this piece for just the color work and just the body imagery of the character. I thought it was such a great statement. I love what she did here. And let's see here. And then we have Real Anatrix. This is a piece I actually love a great deal. There's a lot of things wrong with it. Obviously, it's not the most balanced piece, or it's not the most accurate piece, but there's a style that Real Anatrix has. This is a young man who has started trying to produce work with us a couple of years ago. So we've seen his growth. His growth is very evident. The color work is very good as well. I think this is again what we live for. What we care about is seeing young artists continue to grow. I love that, and so I'm really proud of this young man. This was by far his best piece that he did in a tournament this year. And then last but not least is JT Lucas. JT Lucas, fortunately, probably could have ended up in this final round. He didn't. He wasn't able to get his round 4 image in, but obviously, again, we don't hold it against any artist. There were a number of artists who failed to get their work in on time. We don't hold it against any artists. You recognize great art, and JT Lucas is a fantastic artist. Beautiful image that he did. Every week he had a really strong image that he participated. But I thought this piece was really, really good. I really, really liked this piece. Thought it was really good. Love the color work. Love the character design. Just loved it. Just a great, great, great piece. All right. Folks, I know you're sitting there thinking yourself like, damn, man, I want to see who won the award. I know you do. That's why we're going to make you wait. Special announcement number 2. Month of Macabre Manga. So we have Summer of Manga. We now have Month of Macabre Manga. Raymond, you here? Can you hear me? You there, Raymond? Did we lose Raymond? We lost Raymond. Andrea, are you there?
Yep.
Can you say this name, Andrea? Can you say this statement for me?
Well, I just learned this word, so.
That's right. I forgot about that. I forgot that you did not know what macabre.
Macabre.
Yeah, usual word. Like literally, this was my first time hearing it. So.
I'll be honest, I never heard that word till the other day too. So I'm glad you asked first the other day.
You're welcome.
Jay, because I know that you are capable of laughing at anything. Can you say this phrase?
Month of Macabre, Month of Macabre manga. I have no idea, man. Halloween manga. That's there you go. There you go.
Halloween manga. It is. That's a good point. Halloween manga, folks. So, folks, this is we've gotten so many requests from people to do Summer of Manga or to do a March Art Madness sort of experience for Saturday PM. And obviously, we never could go for that because it is, it's Saturday AM is very open. It's very all ages. And we just didn't want to conflict with that. In fact, there were a number of creators, some really good creators who applied, who we said no to because when we were reviewing the work that they had on their Instagram page, it was so adult that it just didn't sync with us at all. Like it was so adult. It was gorgeous. In some cases it was disturbing, but it was so adult that it just didn't work for Saturday AM or for March Art Madness. Month of Macabre Manga fixes that because this is for Saturday PM. And this is all about bringing great content from original content from creators around the world to this. And so with that being said, the special announcement here is that this is like Summer of Manga, but it's for Saturday PM. It's our October 2019 issue. So again, there's plenty of time on this. This will be a 20-page short story submission, or it can be up to 35-page short story submission if you are older. And a premium subscriber, sorry. There will be an age limit here as well, just like there will be with Summer of Manga. So if you're some 15-year-old kid and you subscribe to premium subscriber, we're not going to take your word for it. We're not going to look at you drawing something you shouldn't be drawing. But regardless, this is it will be horror. Now, horror has many different genre focuses or subgenres. So please don't think that you have to submit something that is grotesque or weird or so forth. Horror can take on many different subgenres. You can have horror romance. You can have horror thriller. You can have action horror. So there's lots of things you can do with it. But regardless, we are looking for something that falls into that realm. Pitches may be submitted. It'll be beginning in June. So there's plenty of time for artists to begin to compile their thoughts and put it together. And then we will begin reviewing these in June for an October release. Now, I can tell you a couple of things. Number one is there will be a very limited number of titles or submissions that we will actually consider to run inside of Saturday PM. So we are looking truly for the best. We're looking for people who really have a great concept, who are really extraordinary creators, who can really do some cool things. So we're really looking for that. And again, if this is something that you're going to try to pursue, please, you know, when we get ready to announce all the details about it, make sure you read up on it. I can tell you this as well, folks. The details for this will be revealed inside of Saturday PM magazine and on the website. It will not be revealed on the Saturday AM website. We may point you from Saturday AM to Saturday PM, but please make sure that you are regularly checking out our Saturday PM social media and our Saturday PM website, which is www.saturday-pm.com. But month of macabre manga, next big announcement that we had there. All right, so now I know you all are ready. You're ready for us to discuss the titles. We made you wait for an hour as we gave proper recognition to people who have worked really hard over the last 5 weeks. They deserve that. So I hope some of you recognize that. I'm sure some don't, but regardless, we want to make sure that everyone is properly appreciated for the work that they did. And that's why we took the time to talk about the tournament and everything that we were doing for the last hour. But now we're getting ready to discuss the final three. Now, again, the way the tournament happens is that when we began 5 weeks ago, we accept 64 artists. Now, we had hundreds of people who applied. We chose 64 that we felt were the most talented and the most interesting. And I was going to say diverse, but I meant that, but I mean interesting. I mean artists who didn't just draw the same thing. If everyone drew manga style, it really wouldn't work. If everyone drew Dragon Ball, it wouldn't work. We want to see people who drew different things. Some people who drew cartoon characters. Some people drew mostly women. Some people drew, you know, things that were more slice of life. So we looked for just a diversity of creators and content to determine who would be best suited for the tournament. Now, let me say that, again, you got 64 artists, it's always a crapshoot because we don't know these people. You know, we have thousands of fans around the world. We don't know who, you know, most of these people are. There's some folks who followed us throughout all of our social media throughout the years, and so we know them well. But there's some folks that we just don't know, and that's the majority of people. So for us, you know, we hope we get it right, but we don't always get it right. And this year, I must say, frustratingly, there were more than we've ever had in terms of people who did not get their work in on time or just failed to let us know. So when you have 64 artists, what we do is we take them and we split them up into 16-person groups. And so the groups are based off some of our top comic book series, Clock Striker, Apple Black, Saigami, and Bullet Eater. And then we put 16 artists in each one of those groups. And the 16 artists then have to compete. We match them up against each other. And so we give each group a theme. They have to draw that theme, and we then judge them. And the judging is broken up into 3 categories. We have staff who judges, and that's you know, kind of a straightforward, you know, they get a couple of points per because we have less staff than people will vote in public. So their votes are weighted slightly. Then you have the public vote. The votes are taken pretty straightforward. And then we have the judging vote. And the judges are made up of the people who usually do the chat, do the live review show like now, as well as, obviously, again, our sponsor. So this is an interesting scenario this year because I was surprised at the number of people who failed to get their work in at all. It started the very first week. We had 2 people who didn't do it. That happens occasionally because, again, you're talking 64 people. But after we got through that first week, every week subsequent to that, we had at least one person who dropped out. And the part that was frustrating and a little sad was that they didn't just drop out. They just didn't tell us. This should be the final 4. It's the final 3 because one of the individuals, like we literally tried to reach this person, talk to the person consistently. Jackie, our intern, who did a marvelous job, by the way, you know, reached out to all the people at the beginning of the week because we wanted to do these kind of expansive interviews with some of them on the website. So we submitted that, we sent it out and so forth. And then this person just didn't get the artwork in. I asked 4 separate times to get the artwork in. Now, it's not important who the person is. And this, again, is why I think some people tend to get tend to be a bit interesting in this tournament when they get offended at being called out. It's not our job to hurt anybody. That's why we don't try to call people out directly in this regard. It is our job, however, to call out the behavior because it affects a lot of things. There are artists who we've seen tonight while we spent that first hour championing some of these artists who should have and could have been in the Final Four. And so for someone to openly choose to just thumb their nose up at it to us and to those people, especially after I complained about it for the last couple of weeks, is frustrating and sad. There should be 4 artists here tonight. And so the fact that there's not means that everybody suffers a little bit because of that. And it's just not fair. Number 2 is that, you know, there are people who watch these videos. So when you see a negative vote there, do understand the negative vote on these YouTube videos are coming from people who didn't like us complaining about their artwork, or it's their friends who are voting for them. It's not the people who watch it, because we get a lot of notes from the people who watch it who didn't participate in the tournament saying, hey, I really love what you said about this one piece of artwork, or thank you for talking about maybe changing this thing around a little bit with this piece of art, because I tried to do something like that and it didn't work either. And now because you said it, because no one told me why the artwork didn't work when I submitted it to my school or when I signed up for this art contest. But when you said it in this particular piece, I'm getting feedback that I wouldn't normally get. And that's the whole point. The whole point of this tournament is precisely to publicly discuss artwork. That's why we're here. That's why we care about this. And so, yes, we're going to look at things like whether or not an artist copied another artist. We're going to look at things about whether or not an artist made the right choice, whether or not an artist has a good grasp of anatomy, whether or not an artist really brought their A game. Because there's no point in winning a tournament or winning a match if you didn't compete at the highest level. Some people may like that, but I guess I'm old school. That's not the world I come from. There's no greater feeling in the world than knowing you went up against some of the best and you won legitimately. So tonight, we're going to review 3 pieces of art from 3 of the groups instead of 4. And we're going to treat them and talk about them as distinctly and as critically as possible. And if anyone is triggered by that, stop watching. Because that's not how we roll. We're Saturday AM, and we take this stuff seriously. Now, that being said, our first entry was Saigami. It was this particular piece. And, of course, this artist didn't get their work in on time, so he did not submit. And I must say, again, I'm frustrated by it because I thought there would be some good artwork. This artist was every artist in this tournament was talented. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in here. But the fact that, of course, is going to skew the vote because it means here's someone who could have taken a percentage of votes, 25% of the votes at least. That sucks. And so, again, I'm really frustrated that didn't happen, but, you know, it is what it is. Next up is Apple Black, and this is Jason S. Now, these were movie poster concepts. And so the idea here is they were going to take a character from Saturday AM, and they were going to basically make a movie poster featuring that character versus something else. Now, this particular one was Apple Black versus Magical Assassins, because Apple Black, of course, is a great series involving magic in a fantasy world. But the alternates that they could have chosen, because each one of these artists, having battled their way through 15 other artists to represent the group that they're in. Remember, 16 artists went in, each group. So the artists you're seeing now battled their way through 15 other artists. So because of that, what you see there on the left, when you see the R and the SR, these are artists who had earned the ranking power. They were now in a position to choose what they wanted to draw. Now, in this case, they still had to draw Apple Black, but it could have been Apple Black versus Dragon Ball Super. It could have been Apple Black versus Shazam and Doctor Strange, or it could have been Apple Black versus other Saturday AM characters. Jason S. from the UK chose, I think, the Magical Assassins piece. We're going to look at this piece now. Here's the image. Now we're going to start off, of course, as we got the actual artist in the room. We're going to start off with his thoughts of the piece, and then we're going to go around the horn and hear what else's thoughts on it. So, White, you get first dibs, sir. What do you make of this new Apple Black movie starring Nicolas Cage?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. I thought this was obviously at this point in the game, all the artists are that way well above, way well above average, all talented. So looking at this, I think it's pretty solid. In fact, it's very solid. Awesome stuff overall. I like the hierarchy of, the size and placement of certain characters to show importance, to have them kind of almost opposite each other to an extent, showing what characters, at least giving an idea or hints of what might happen if this were to actually take place. I think this is also humorous to a degree, because I think the artist Jason Ass just had fun with it, because Nicolas Cage, Shaq, Meryl Streep, to a degree. I don't know if that hurts the piece or takes away from it a little bit.
I don't think so. No, yeah. I don't think so. I mean, it does make you look at it, though. You're right.
Yeah, it definitely has some kind of disjoint. Once you see those things, it makes everything feel very parody. But like you say, it's also fun, and is it like just fun to look at overall. I like the character designs for the the villains here, whatever these extra characters. And I think in the world of Apple Black, I could definitely see something like this or characters like this existing. Yeah, definitely. And I like their designs overall. I like his take on the characters that are here. The line work and color work. I like Jason Nash's color work overall. I think he does pretty good job on what he does. The anatomy is pretty accurate. Rendering is pretty accurate. The vibe overall, like I said, is very humorous. By the creators of Dragon Ball Evolution. God forbid.
I was going to ask you about that. I was going to ask you.
That's great. So overall success rate. Just some questions about the humor, but like if you just view it as a humor poster, I think at the end of the day it's okay. With the characters, if I were to be like extra picky about things, which I wouldn't be normally, but in this scenario, if I were to be extra picky about certain things, and the characters he definitely took some liberties. Where the characters here look a little older, but I think that's fine. And though, like I said, I think I've expressed most of what I have to say. Overall, I'm really excited by this artist and what he's done. I like the way he renders, the way he colors and paints, and the hues he has in his illustrations, and his whole like vibe and use of color theory. I like what he did with the logo for Apple Black here. Then I think overall I like the piece. I think it's pretty good, strong enough to definitely win, and looks really good.
Yeah, so we're gonna go around the horn real quickly, but we will see that tonight when we look at the other ones. That I was surprised that all of them created the logos. They all created the logos, and I thought that was interesting. Instead of just ripping the logo, so I thought it was kind of interesting. Let's go to Raymond. Raymond, what did you make of this piece? And let's keep it brief, folks. We can kind of get through these three. But Raymond, what did you make of this? And folks, and again, let me say again, I'm not interested. There's no point in anybody trying to be nice or not being harsh. That's your job. So give your honest feelings about the artwork. If something is not right, then say it. That's the point. Raymond, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a clever piece. The Nicolas Cage part had me. It's pretty funny. I mean, as far as from what I'm used to from Jason Ass, Jasonis, we gotta figure out what that name is. But Jasonis, I don't think this is his strongest piece. A couple of things that kind of throw me off, like Sano's arm, his forearm is a bit, too long as far as in proportion to his body. Like White said, it's definitely a solid piece. The character design is cool. Like I like that guy in the back with the scythe and stuff like that. Definitely looks like something from Apple Black. But yeah, I like it, but like I said, it's you know, I think his Death Note piece, some of his other pieces was way stronger than this.
Yeah, Andrea, what did you make of this? And yes, Andrea, it's a shame Sagami's not on here. I agree.
I know. Well, for this poster, yeah, I absolutely agree with you guys that yeah, he has stronger artworks, and it's for me the humor actually took away from this because it kind of went full retard. So it kind of feels like he didn't take it too seriously, but at the same time, the designs and the coloring is pretty cool. So I love that. Yeah, Sano's arm feels weird, and he actually also made a typo in all the text. So probably if he had done that, that would have been more.
I noticed that too. I was waiting for somebody to notice that. It's cinema for those of you who didn't see the typo. Jay Odin, what did you make of this?
Yeah, that actually was one thing that I noticed. The cinema, it was misspelled. So I think this piece is great. The things that I don't like about this piece are definitely Sano's arm. It looks really long. You can't actually see the other arm behind it either. Maybe it's because it's just being blocked. But if his other arm was as long as his other arm, you should be able to see that arm. So that kind of threw me off. The random sound effects on the right hand side, I thought that looked cool, but with that just being there, I would have wanted to see probably maybe more if you're gonna do that, or not have them at all. It does make it seem more balanced, I would say, in terms of there's a lot of there's something on one side and the other side. It just seems a little bit balanced. I like the subtitled. I thought that was kind of funny. So I just assumed that this was more of a joke poster, mainly because of the Nicolas Cage, Shaq, and Meryl Streep thing. The subtitle, "The Revenge of the Three Mystical Ninja Wizard Assassin Guys." I thought that was kind of humorous. I would have loved to have seen a Nicolas Cage or a Shaq or Meryl Streep in the background. I think that probably would have made this piece a little bit better. But overall, I really like the coloring work. He still has that pink hue, but it's subtle. It's not as prominent as the other pieces that he's done. But his other pieces, I agree with Raymond. They were better. Overall, I liked it a lot, though.
All right, and Bailey, you're the final one, sir. What did you make of this piece?
I was a bit mixed on this piece. Andrea mentioned the parody style titling. I wasn't a fan of that, honestly. Apple Black just seems like a more serious series, and I feel like if they were going for humor, they should have went all in, like maybe some ridiculous beach episode style movie. And really went in on that. But with the humorous title and the more serious poster, it felt kind of mismatched. I also felt that the colors could have been a little more dramatic, like the Death Note piece that they did. They really went all out on the lighting and the intensity, and I feel like that would have suited Apple Black a little bit more, like an action series. But besides that, I thought, still, even with those things in mind, the execution was still really slick. The layout of the poster itself, ignoring the parody text and stuff like that, just as text, it's laid out really well. It looks like it'd be a really great banner. The composition is great. Your eye sits really smoothly throughout the entire piece, with the going through Sano's arm and then up to the villains through the side characters. And I really, really love that mask. I think if I had to choose a favorite thing from this piece, is that mask design. I'm a sucker for cool masks, and yeah, they did a really good job there. And that's my thoughts there.
Yeah. So what I'll say, just the humor did not bother me at all. I mean, this is not something we're using. So none of these pieces are something that we're using. This is an exercise. I mean, obviously it's our characters, so we can enjoy seeing our characters drawn. That's why we make this challenge. But at the same time, It's about, you know, the artist. This is what their vision is. So that doesn't bother me. This is his vision. And all these the images we're going to see are the vision of the artist, and I respect them for that. I agree with Raymond. This is not the strongest piece that Jason S has done in the tournament. I think I totally agree with that. The arm with Sano bothers me as well. The purple shade doesn't bother me, even though it is something that Jason S leans on too much. The same way I think Impy leans on that kind of hazy filter. But on the other hand, I love the character designs. I love the character designs. I think Ruzaki and the girl, you know, obviously look like they're supposed to. A little older, to White's point, absolutely, but they still capture it, and they look good as well. The bad guys look amazing. I mean, again, like one of the we did a round, I think it was 2 with Mythology, where the entire concept of that was for them to have to create an original character. That was the whole point of that matchup, that theme, and so to see a lot of these artists get put through those paces, just like the comic book pages, you know, that's a real skill set. Not everybody has it. There are great artists out there who could not create an original character to save their life, or at least not a good one. And these are some amazing designs. I mean, the guy with the hoodie and the mask, with the scythe, and then the guy at the top with the mask, like those are pretty amazing. So so again, yeah, I agree that my negative feelings on it, I think, are the same as some other folks. This is not the best piece Jason S could have done, but there's a lot of stuff here that I do like a great deal, and so, you know, I think this is a strong piece. You know, weaknesses notwithstanding. Okay, so we'll discuss our votes when we call time here after we hit these next 2. So Clock Striker. Celestial Pulse was the creator of this, and this was versus the Dark Engineers. Now, Clock Striker, the whole point of Clock Striker is that she's a young girl who, in her world, being an engineer is the coolest thing you can be, but being an engineer is kind of like being a smart ninja. Like, you can be a warrior, but you also, like, you know, can build things and make weapons and make things that help people and yada, yada. So Cass, the young black girl who is the Clock Striker, that's what her goal is, to be someone who helps people, but she also can kick butt. And so the Dark Engineers, of course, would be, you know, the dark version of the sort of engineer that Cass wants to be. The alternates here were Naruto / Boruto, Spider-Man and Robin, or Saturday AM again. And once again, Celestial Pulse, like Jason S, chose to stay with the original theme. She didn't activate her ranking power. And so we end up with this piece. And so this is Clock Striker, Rise of the Dark Engineers, coming June 2020. I so wish we were coming June 2020. I'll start off and say that, so this piece immediately stood out to me, just because obviously it's my character. There are some things that just instantly I loved about it. I really, really, really love the color on it. I think, in fact, obviously we're going to see another piece after this. I think this is probably the best color tonight that we've seen for the final 3 images. Just the color is just amazing. You've got the blue, you've got the red. Both of them are vibrant. You've got the purple hair is gorgeous on Mistress Clock. There's so much of this that works. I love the guy who's kind of like in the I don't know what he is, a sand person or whatever, but I love his look. Just so much of this is great. I love the tweaks she made to the logo. This is a really, really, really solid piece. Now, are there criticisms of it? Of course there are criticisms of it. There's the way Cass and the young man she's going up against are framed against each other doesn't quite work. Like the anatomy or the carrying of Cass doesn't quite work in comparison to the guy, but it's still not bad. This reminds me of the piece she did, I think, in round 4, where she had this great fight sequence. It wasn't as exciting as it could have been. And the thing, again, with critique of this particular artist is that when you see what this artist can do on a one-off, you know that she's capable of doing everything expertly. She did a fantastic Teen Turtle piece. She did an amazing, I forgot the piece she did the first week. but this is an artist who can literally do just about anything she wants to do artistically. And so so again, when you see something that just kind of feels kind of not right, it stands out because the artist is so good. But I didn't like it. The pose bothered me for the kid because I feel like I've seen that pose before, and I don't know if that was deliberate or not. But regardless, I thought it was a strong piece. I thought the color work on it is probably the best part of it. I mean, some of the character images aren't as strong to me, but the color work is absolutely fantastic. So we're gonna go slightly opposite last time. Let me start with Andrea. Andrea, what did you make of this?
Yeah, this is a pretty strong piece, especially as a poster. Like, to me, this artwork felt the most like a movie poster. I really like the logo placement at the bottom because it really stands out. I also like the text on top, the mischief, mayhem, machinery. That was pretty cool. Yeah, the coloring is nice. It's not my favorite piece from Vatania, but yeah, it does feel like a movie poster.
Yeah, Raymond, what did you make of this?
Yeah, I agree with everything said as far as the color work. I mean, her color work is always strong. I mean, if nothing else, the color work is always going to be, solid with her. Sometimes the artists, I feel like they don't realize it, but they shoot themselves in the foot when they really bring it one week. Like, I keep thinking about that one that we showed with the basketball with the ducks and the dogs.
Oh,
I mean, that was so good that, it's almost like, man, like, I wish we could have got a little bit more of that energy in this one. As far as dynamism, if I can say that word the right way. But all in all, I think it's a solid piece. Miss Clock's face, it kind of, I wish that could have been done a little bit differently. I think it's I'm not sure. Something throws up about her face, but all in all, solid character design and of course, great color.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Jay, to that point, when I first saw this picture, I thought that was Stud that she was going up against. What did you make of that?
Yeah, when I first saw this piece, I got really excited at first, and I was like, "Oh wow, she brought Stud," and then I was like, "Oh wait, that's not Stud." No, but yeah, I totally agree. The color work is absolutely phenomenal. I feel like Cast's clothes kind of bother me. Just the wrinkles. They just seem kind of overdone. I assume that like maybe the wind is blowing and they're just like flowing with the wind, but it just seems like a lot is going on in her clothes. Whereas the other character, he doesn't have nearly as many wrinkles in his clothes. So I mean, I don't know. That kind of threw me off. Miss Clock's face, I agree with Raymond. I would assume that it's probably the cheek line. But the real thing, other than that, on Miss Clock that kind of bothered me was her thumb. It might just be because the image is cutting off right there, but if that wasn't cut off, it kind of seems like it would have been like a little bit too big, which isn't really that, it's me being picky, I guess. But I really like the lightning. I love the goggles on that bad guy. They're rendered perfectly. They look amazing. So overall, I think it looks pretty cool. That pose does look really familiar, but yeah, I like it a lot.
All right, so Mr. Let's go with Bailey this time, and then we'll go to White. Bailey, what'd you make of this piece?
Yeah, I thought it was a really solid, like overall, it was a solid piece. I really liked the small graphic design touches that they put in the end with like the cogs in the background and like adding to the title. I loved the flavor text, the mischief, mayhem, machinery. That was really evocative and made me really excited. Like, oh man, if this was a movie poster, I'd want to see. I want to see what this is about. I loved the clash of the two in the background. I thought that was really cool. The electricity was amazing. It's really dynamic. I love the little touch of the setting in the background. That's always nice to hint at. You've got the buildings to kind of indicate where this is taking place. And I really, really like the boy's character design. I saw that the arm and the leg were metallic, and it reminded me of Edward Elric. And I really liked that. But I also noticed that the pose is really like side by side, similar to like a promo image for Full Metal Alchemist, which is what Edward is from. And since that pose is like such a major part of this image, like when you look at it, my eye just goes to that character in that pose. It really kind of brings this image together in such a dynamic way, and to kind of find out that it was pretty like side by side copied from this promo image, it kind of took away from the piece a bit, but with all the other things said, that this is still a really good contender piece.
Yeah, I think so we'll have to look at. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That image is very similar, and I obviously don't know if that's where the person got the inspiration from or what have you, but it is very, very, very similar. And then of course the fact with the metallic hand and so forth, it does kind of stand out like that. But but it's interesting. And in fact, it's interesting you mentioned too the building at the bottom, because I hadn't noticed those. For some reason, I just saw the lights down there in the tree line. I didn't see the actual building, so that is really cool. White, you are cleanup, sir. What did you make of this piece?
For me, like real quick, obviously here, the color work is very vibrant. The character, obviously we don't know details about all the characters here, but like the one you guys are referring to, like the boy, I don't even know if that might be a girl for all we know. But I like, the designs overall, especially the guy bottom right. I almost like looking at it when first time I saw the poster, I was like, did she ask Fred for details? Because this definitely looks like something I'd see in, or at least something I'd like to see in Clock Striker. I like what she did. I like what she did with the logo as well. Looks really strong. One thing I will say is I wish, piggybacking off of all the other things people have said, I agree with literally everything. The folds on cast, some of the anatomy positions. When it comes to like the boy's position and all the Full Metal comparisons, I don't know where she got the inspiration from. Honestly, I've not seen that Full Metal illustration, so I can't. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know. But I wish she flipped it. I wish Cast and the character to the right were at the bottom, and then the heads were like behind them at the top, maybe a little faded. Because right now the color work is great and vibrant, and everything is really, saturated and like really fighting for your attention. But I wish the heads were at the back, slightly faded, and then we saw more of Cast, and maybe it would have helped the, anatomy to be even more accurate as well. But overall, definitely one of the strongest piece as a poster for a movie. The little mischief, mayhem, machinery at the top, I like. Sad Day M logo sits perfect. Like overall, it's a joy to look at.
Yeah, total. Again, that top part is problematic. I agree. I mean, like because there's, I mean, like when you look at Cass, there's a couple of things is off, and like you said, her being the star, her being the one doing the punching would make it. That would change the thing a little bit. And give it the proper sort of piece on it. I think the flip side of that as well is that also the thing too with Cass that stands out to me as well. And that's just, again, I'm an African American man, so this has always been one of the issues, by the way, we've had with artists who draw Clock Striker, is the fact that I am a black man and I do care about black representation. And so is that the back of her hair? I don't know what's going on with that. And every time I look at it, just like I know a black woman would have a fit with that, but that stands out to me. And so yeah, her position and the way the back of her hair looks and other things just kind of it's problematic. It would have been more interesting had it been like the kid was rushing towards her or she rushing towards him, because the way it's positioned right now, like I said, that camera just seems just weird. Like when you look at it, it throws you off of the way it's positioned. And again, an artist of this caliber, that's why those critiques probably sting sometimes to them, because the artist is better than that. In fact, to make my point, for those of you who are watching this, when we take our break to make our final votes, go to our March Art Madness page and look at Vicinea, Celestial Pulse's very first image. It is one of the best images in the history of March Art Madness. It is Scorpion versus Sub-Zero. It has a very dynamic camera. It's got tons of action and detail happening within it. And that is exactly the point of when you see the top image of this one in terms of what she could have done and what she's capable of doing. Regardless, 100% agree that there are so many other elements of this poster that make it the most poster-like that we've seen thus far. And from the logo work to the top part and all of that. So again, really strong image. Last poster is from Team Bully Eater. The winner of that group was Miss Impy OJ. Bully Eater, series about a young man who has to fight bullies who are more powerful than he is. This is Bully Eater versus School Ninjas. And then you've got the alternates. And Impy could have drawn Bully Eater versus My Hero Academia, Daredevil and Batman, or Saturday AM. So now with that being said, this is her piece. Bully Eater Remnants of Shadows, I think is what it says. I'm not sure exactly. Let's start with the birthday boy himself. Birthday boy, as in this is a series. Raymond Brown, this is your Bully Eater, sir. What do you make of this?
I like the cool color she used. I like that it feels almost glassy. It actually makes me think of like if it was like one of those metallic pictures, that we were talking about. Mm-hmm. Kind of looks, kind of gives me the image of it will look really cool on like some type of metallic thing. As far as the weakest parts, it showed to me, it seems like she has a tough time with drawing profile shots with the characters looking a direction, because pretty much the weakest characters are the ones that have the profile that are looking to the left or right. Like the character up top in the left, right. I guess he has like a sword in his hand. Pretty much all the characters that are profile, as far as that goes. And then the only other pet peeve I have is Sal's face. It kind of I don't know. It's not positioned on his face, on his head well. I wish it would have been maybe a little bit more spread out, or not quite sure. Something about it's kind of like I get the effect she was going for with kind of like making it kind of like he's looking down and up at you. But a little bit better render would have been nice. And then the fingers, his fingers that's gripping his shoulders, that gap is a little too little off. But the positive I'll give this is that the composition is there and the idea was there. It kind of fell short with some of the execution on some of the different characters, but that's mine.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start with let's go to White. White, what did you make of this piece?
I think piggybacking off of Red, I do think that the artist has definite issues anatomy wise. It's not terrible, but you can definitely see things, especially when you, like you said, when you're trying to do profiles. I wish it wasn't all like just big headshots clumped together. Everything kind of feels a little congested to a degree, and you don't know where to fully focus. And I think most of the focus should be on the Sao and the main Bully Eater characters, and maybe like a main villain, right? And like here the poster overall is not really telling us much. However, I commend the artist's coloring here, because there's there's doing a lot of highlights, gradients. There's some effects going on here. There is a style to the coloring overall with the hair, like highlights, and just overall rendering, brush wise, everything. I think there was a lot of work put in here, a lot of detail. You can look at like the scarf in the bottom right, the glasses, everything, and like certain realistic highlights you would get in night, and maybe like different lights shining on a character. So I can see that there was a lot of work put into this, and like Ray said, some glassy feels and cool effects here and there. and some lights. I think it's a joy to look at. Your eyes going all over the place, but I think the con with that is your eyes going all over the place, and it's not too strong a focus. I think overall the focus would be a Sal, but I think overall it could have been better. But I do see a lot of effort, and I commend MP for putting a lot of effort for this final round to give it, their best. But definitely, I think anatomy is what hurt it the most.
Bailey, what did you make of this piece?
Yeah, I agree with the anatomy point. I think it hurts this piece the most. Like looking at Isao, the main character in the middle, like his arms and his hand and his face, it's just kind of all wacky and out of proportion. But that being said, I felt this piece the most. Like it was the most action packed of all of them. I felt. It's very detailed. Like the artist has put so much work into each nook and cranny of this piece. You look at the backlighting, the slight backlighting on their hair, and like all the detailing, and like even though the characters are all pretty profile shot, like up heads and shoulders, they're all doing something unique still. Which I can appreciate, that they're not just all doing the same thing and not just like all faces. I really liked how the characters were kind of cut off like comic panels towards the bottom. That a little homage to it being from a comic is always nice. And I just that drama and the dramatic lighting really brings me in. And I really enjoyed this piece because of that. Besides like the problems, like I still really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay, Andrea, what did you make of this piece, Andrea?
Well, in my opinion, this was, for me at least, was the most ambitious piece because there's so many details, so much going on, and beautiful coloring. And the thing I like about Impy's coloring is that it's so impressive to look at that covers up her mistakes at first. But the more you look at it, the more it will stand out that there are serious issues with the anatomy. It was all mentioned before. Also with the logo placement, I think she could have be a bit bolder. Like I barely could read the text in the bottom, so it doesn't really feel like a movie poster.
Right.
But some of the coloring and some of the character shots are brilliant. Like Shin is my favorite in this, even though he's not the main character, but I kind of wish it was more like that artwork, the wall poster.
Yeah. Jay, what did you make of this piece?
Yeah, piggybacking off of what Andrea just said, it doesn't necessarily look like a movie poster, but it's a very interesting, like I would say, a hype poster. I would, if this was like an episode or something, I mean, I would, or like if it was just like a poster just to get with the book or something, I would totally, get this. MP, I've liked her stuff, all the way from the beginning. But with that said, I mean, there is so much going on this page that it's difficult to like just focus on one thing. And, because of that, some of the characters are like blending into each other. Like, for instance, the bad guy that's holding the dagger kind of blends in with that other kid that has the red hood because it's the same color. So, I mean, my advice to try to make this better, they separated everything with like panels. I would try to make those panel like lines either thicker or a different color or something to just make it seem like, they're actually separated, or, not have as much to look at on the page. Asayo is supposed to be the main focus, and, I feel like for the most part, he kind of is, but he should have been maybe a little bit bigger, or maybe I don't know. That's what I had to say about that. But I mean, the one thing that did kind of bother me the most about this picture was Asayo's hands on his shoulder. They're like really long. They look like alien hands, honestly. But overall, I really like all the facial expressions. Some of them have some like some of them could be better, but overall, I really liked how ambitious this was, and how she kind of just tackled this in the best way that she could. And it really shows that she put a lot of effort in it, especially with all the colors. You know, like I said, I've been a fan of her coloring since the beginning. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm different from you on that. Like I have enjoyed Impy from the very beginning. I've never fully loved her color work. I think she's got this haze she puts in her work that I just don't understand. It just doesn't work for me, and I think this is another good example of it. So it feels very glossy and it feels very glassy. Like it's like you're looking at it through a filter and a filter. And when I see it, and especially with these weird swirls that are going around in there, which I still don't understand what those swirls are, I agree with Raymond. I think what Raymond said at the very beginning, I think is the most thing I agree with that everybody said, which is the fact that I love the construction of this poster. So like as a movie poster, this has the best construction, in my opinion, of any of the three, because it feels like something that is very much tied into, hey, here's everything you're going to get in this movie. And you've got different characters, and some characters are allies, some characters are enemies. Some are from the series, some aren't. And so that part's interesting. If Asal were actually, you know, because I can't tell what's going on with Asal, obviously, he's the weakest part, and that's where it falls apart. All three of these artists did their own logo versions, their own treatments of the logos. And as I indicated, you know, so that's something you're going to see tonight. Well, you see it now, having hit the third and final one. They all three attempted to do a logo, and that was a mistake in this case, because Visenia, by far, Celestial Pulse, did the best treatment for the logo of any of the three. Conversely, you know, Jason S did the second best. But in this case, like this is just this logo, again, it's hard to read what it says. It's too small. The resolution seems a little odd on it. And again, I could have, like, the construction of this poster is so good. Like, I mean, the idea of it is so strong that the only thing she had to do was stick the landing on Asal. Like, I don't think any of the complaints you guys have would be happening had Asal not had some of that weird gloss stuff going on with him, that haze or whatever she does. Had he been more accurately depicted with the hands, and even his body's thin. Like, I don't understand why his body's so thin, but had he been depicted, you know, like without the filter, had it been just maybe a traditional color job on him, he had looked more dynamic, less of that kind of weird kind of pose he's in, and more dynamic. Maybe, you know, where we can really see what's going on. His, you know, he's bleeding, he's cut in his shoulder, he's standing there like still ready to fight, and then, you know, and he's square in the center, occupying a bigger portion of the center, mind you, because right now he's too thin, but occupying a bigger portion of the center. And then all around him we see all the other threats that are imposing, or that are coming on him, and then you get a bigger logo at the bottom. This could have won. This could have won easily had she done that. But the fact that she didn't do that, I think, is where this falls apart. Because look, the close-up shots of the character in the top right, the character in the bottom right, the character on the bottom left, the dude from the manga that's got the bandaged hands and the hoodie, the guy that's kind of got the snarl. Those alone, to me, are better than anything I've seen tonight. Like, those alone are better than anything I've seen tonight, because they all bleed personality or design. But it falls apart in that centerpiece with Asal, and it falls apart with that logo. And that's unfortunate, because I think this could have easily won had it been depicted just a slight bit better. All right, and who knows? It still could win. I don't know. So we're gonna take a 10-minute break, folks. 10-minute break. It's not gonna take very long. In fact, it might be within 10 minutes. I'm gonna convert these folks. We're gonna mute the mics. We're gonna deactivate the. We're going to deactivate the screen here and so forth. So just looking at the Saturday M logo. And we're going to discuss the vote for these final three. We're going to come back. We're going to provide you the vote. Not going to be a lot of discussion. We'll advise you why we gave the votes we gave. That'll be about it. And then we will announce the winner. And then we'll answer a few questions. And then we will call time this evening. So that is it. Oh, we do have one more special announcement. We'll make that at the end of the show. So with that being said, take a moment, folks. Go take a break. If you need to use the bathroom, it's been 2 hours. Go take a break, relax, You're not in any hurries. We're gonna mute the mics, like I said, and we will go from there. Okay, so we'll chat here shortly, folks. Give us a few minutes. Break starting now. All right, everybody. So we are back. I apologize for the delay, but obviously I had to try to add up these numbers and stuff, and it was a bit of a pain to try to get everything exactly right. So, anyways, but everything is there. So we are very excited. We're going to now reveal the winners. We're going to tell briefly how we got there, and then we of course will follow up with a blog post that goes into. I don't know if a bit more detail, but it'll expand a little bit. I think, obviously, again, we try to, be respectful of, various folks in terms of how we do things. So we're going to go ahead and go with that. Hopefully, I hope I'm not echoing. Am I echoing at all? Is that me? Oh, I'm echoing. Okay, crap. I don't know why I'm echoing. Let me turn the volume down a little bit, I guess. Okay. Well, someone else says I'm not echoing, so I don't know. If I'm echoing, folks, let me know in the chat. Okay, well, let me go ahead and pull up the share the screen here. We can get going. All right. So, folks, again, let me state first and foremost that, again, extremely proud of everyone who participated in this year's March Art Madness. I am just incredibly humbled that we saw, again, 16 artists. I'm sorry, 64 artists, 16 different countries, that we had a record number of female artists. This is, again, when I started Saturday AM, I didn't even dream of this. A number of people of color, be it from Asia, from Africa, from India, or Indian heritage, people of Arabic backgrounds, Jewish backgrounds, Mexican backgrounds, white, black. This is awesome. I'm really, 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 really excited for what we've been able to do at this year's tournament. And again, everything aside, it's a great tournament, and everyone who's participating in this should feel extremely proud. The Color Tops Award for round 5 was Jason S. from Chameleon. They recognized Jason for his work in round 5. So again, we've talked about the Color Tops winners each week, and that this final week was Jason S. So Chameleon recognized Jason for his art and for this round, and that came with it a 10-point inclusion into this particular round. Here are the results, and let's talk about them for a little bit. So what we did was we have the public vote. That is where you guys come in and vote. We have the staff vote. That's where our staff votes. We have the Chameleon vote, which again was the 10 points you just saw there. And then we have the judges' votes. Now, one of the things that came up with the judge vote here was that everyone was very much in league with one person, and then there were still some concerns about some of the choices and stuff that were made, and so ultimately it switched a little bit. Jason S. Wins this. It was very close. The 10-point Chameleon piece didn't really make the difference, but what did make the difference were the judges' votes tonight in comparison to the public. The public vote, Visenia decimated everyone there. And I want to also state that these public votes were completely clean. Like, we've seen in the past when someone does a public vote and they decimate the competition, that sometimes it's friends and family coming in and doing stuff. That's not what this was. Visenia's work was great. It was beautiful. I gave it the top marks. But the challenges that people have with some of the choices she made in that piece were there, and so then we had to leverage it out. And I want to give a quick shout as to how we did that, just so everyone understands. So what happened here was that basically what I asked everyone to do was to vote and rank their top 3. And of course, there was people went back and forth over what it was. I had at least 2 or 3 people change their answers. Mine was the same all the way through, but some people changed their answer. And so then I had to go back in and tabulate it. And what I did to tabulate it was that you got points no matter what. So if you got a vote for third place, second place, or first place, you got points. And what happened, basically, it was a question of how many points you got for first place. So those who got first place points got first place votes. They get their points were a little higher. So, for example, you may get 10 points per vote if someone ranked you in the first place position. And if someone ranked you in third place, you get less than that. And same with second place. So that's how we did that. Versus the public vote, we just went straight off of who had the most votes. Period. So yeah, I think ultimately at the end of the day, like I said, this was a choice. This came down to the posing of some of the characters and stuff, and that's ultimately where it came out at. But I gotta say, and then the original character designs in the case of Jason S. But hats off to everybody here. I was super impressed with everyone, as I said before. With Impy 0J with her Bully Eater piece. A few of those quadrants with some of the up close faces I thought were brilliant. In the case of Visenia and what she did with Clock Striker, my series, I thought the color was the best color work that we saw tonight. I thought the logo was the best logo we saw tonight, and I love the tagline she gave it. Ultimately, again, there were some issues there with some of the posing and so forth. And then with Jason S., I thought his stuff was, he had a complete theme. He ran through with it. There's some slight issues we had with some of the with the arm, so Sano and things like that, and some of the some people had issue with the jokiness, but all in all, I thought it came across very strongly there. Really great stuff. I can't state enough how excited I am for these three individuals to have gotten this far. They earned it, they deserved it, and I think each of them is probably going to end up someplace really special. I know Visenia has a comic book that she does called Celestial Pulse, and hopefully you guys will check that out. I do not know what Impy OJ is doing, but I feel like she's a young creator, and I hope that she stays with the work that she's doing and continues to perfect it, because I think she reminds me a lot of Amber, Naruto Freck, who we thought was probably going to win this year's tournament. So it just goes to show you again that we try to run these tournaments. We know who we think might win, and it never quite works that way, because then someone else gets in the way of it. So but I'll be curious to see what happens with MPJ. And then Jason S. I did not know anything about Jason S. And so I'll be curious to see what his style is. I know one thing I found fascinating about him, and it reminds me very much of Bailey, was that when I saw his work when we were bringing him into this tournament, we saw the work that he had submitted. We ultimately just thought, okay, well, this is, this guy does a lot of fashion stuff. It's a lot of women, but then you see it, and you see just how diverse he can be, and so so I thought maybe he just drew fashion or sexy girl art, but no, he can do more than that. And so again, hats off to all these artists. As I said before, again, the piece that was done. The piece that was done from sorry, I'm looking at someone here who decided to try to take a swing at us folks. So we'll be reporting him to YouTube. It's a sad person, man. People like that amaze me, because I mean that's the sort of stuff you can go to jail for. Hats off to you, buddy. You will be. But anyways, folks, there's behaving childishly doesn't get you anywhere in life. So anyways, beyond that, let's see. We've got some. Again, I'm really proud of all the artwork that was done here. And again, as Andrea said, particularly proud of the women. God knows the women just rocked, and super proud of that. So let's get hats off to Jason S. Really strong work. And we will see kind of what comes of him and comes of some of the other creators. Really proud of the work that these three did, and Jason S. Now, special announcement, round 3. This is the final announcement we have to make tonight, so we'll be getting into that. And give us a moment here so we can prep you guys for that, because this is really good stuff. Let's see here. Pull this up here. All right. So, folks, this is really cool. Yeah. Don't worry, we've got Adrian reported, and of course, as you guys now see, Adrian was, of course, a young man who waited and waited and waited, didn't tell us that he was going to get his work into us. We asked repeatedly, could we get his work in? We could have had that slot go to another artist, and we had talked about this for weeks, saying that, hey, guys, if you can't make it, if something happens, which we all understand. I mean, we publish a magazine, folks. Every week we publish them, or every 2 weeks we publish a magazine. So if you can't, make it, then then please, let us know. We would get another artist in there. We never mentioned this young man's name. So you see what we deal with. So I just want to, again, for the folks who took issue with round 4 and thought that we were being rude and that and the other, I hope that the rest of you learn a lesson from this behavior right here, because this is the action, this is the result of that sort of behavior. You can't take criticism. You don't want to take responsibility. And so you then decide to act out. And given the world we live in today, acting out like that has consequences. So, there you go. But anyways, let's get to the special announcement, round 3. Fan Art Friday. And this is really, really, really exciting. This is really exciting. So with Fan Art Friday, this, first of all, is a very popular hashtag. We are super excited with this hashtag because this is the sort of hashtag where people use it. This is, of course, a really big thing that people are doing currently with Instagram and other channels. And so we love this. We think it's so cool. But we want to take it a step further. Now, March Art Madness has just gotten bigger and bigger every single year. We have people coming from more countries. Our traffic explodes every time we do it. And of course, you see with some artists, you see the sort of success that they have. So, for example, Bailey, you have you kind of came into March Madness in 2017, and then you came back in 2018. And now, tell everybody how you are currently doing your art. Tell people what you're doing right now, because you weren't doing this before March Art Madness.
Yeah, well, I started getting some requests to do characters after uploading my March Art Madness pieces to my Instagram. People really liked the characters I was drawing, and pretty much for the past year, I've been doing character design commissions. Like, they've just kept coming in. I've felt like really blessed in it, and I think March Art Madness kind of got me to push myself to a point where it got people interested in my art, and so yeah, that's where I'm at now, and I'm happy with it.
Excellent. And so so again, by I think that one of the things I love about the tournament, one of the things I love about what we do with this, is that, again, this is shining a light on extraordinary artists from around the world who do not normally get that platform to present their content. It gives, this is definitely giving artists the chance to shine. And so what we love about that is that now we have a chance to turn this into a real institution for people to discover great artists, to have them focus on creating great artwork and having a chance to grow. Because with March Art Madness, of course, you're challenged. As all the artists here will attest tonight, you're challenged. You're going to go up against some of the best artists out there. You're going to be drawing things you would normally not draw. And you're going to be getting critiques, real critiques on what it is you're choosing to do. And so we're really excited to formally make this a new league. And we talked about this last year, and we weren't really ready to pull it off. We didn't have access to all the great art supply companies out there and so forth. But we've now been working on this for quite some time. We've put everything together. And so now you actually have everything set up to have one hell of an experience if you're an artist all year long. And of course, it's going to culminate in next year's March Art Madness. So just to be clear, March Art Madness 2020, which is next year, that will be our 5th anniversary for March Art Madness. Now, we celebrate our 5th year for Saturday AM, this year, or sorry, last year. But 2020 will be March Art Madness, our 5th year. So what makes that particularly exciting is that we're in a position to actually do some amazing stuff with it next year, including setting up the tournament in a gigantic way. So imagine now that the tournament allows you to work on creating content, creating content like this, where you actually have a chance to come straight into it and do some great stuff. I mean, this is something that we feel like is going to be really cool. And so we're focused on building something that's pretty cool. We think that ultimately it's going to come across. I see, again, there's some people here who are upset because they've been reported at various times. So let us move on here and get them on their way. So anyways, and folks, again, we understand how it works. We get that some people aren't ready for that sort of level of criticism. It is what it is. We've been doing this for 5 years. We've been called, race baiters. We've been called all sorts of stuff. So people accusing us of lack of professionalism, and we continue to be here 5 years later doing it. Just, it speaks for itself. But the thing about a tournament is that you're going to be able to win prizes every single week. And of course, we have it will be able to win prizes every single month. We're going to have giant tournaments every month. They won't be at the same level that you'll have with March Art Madness. They'll be bigger and they'll have more structure to it. But it'll be a real opportunity for people to have a chance to draw and do things with it as they go into the context every single week. So we're really excited about kicking off Fan Art Friday. It's going to, we've gotten a lot of support, a lot of interest from big companies who want to support us because they love the fact that we're discovering great artists, and they love the fact that these artists are having a chance to be seen and be known. So really stoked about this. Fan Art Friday will be a weekly contest. The Fan Art Friday tournaments will be monthly. And then, of course, you participate in these events, and as a ranked artist, as you go through winning each one of these bouts, each one of these things, it gives you access to March Art Madness. And next year, folks, March Art Madness 2020, because it will be our 5th year, we're not just giving away an iPad, we're giving away money, and we're giving away lots of money. So again, we want to try to incentivize and excite and drive a lot of creators to have a chance to put themselves out there, to have to own up to the professional part of the business, folks, because you're not going to have a long career in this if you can't have your stuff done on time, you can't do certain things. It's a really, really this whole process is really meant to challenge artists in this field. And but this is exactly what it seems like. This is exactly what it comes across as. We can't wait to expose you guys to this and to get people set up and to have fun with this great tournament. So you can expect to see a lot of artists as well involved with it. We're gonna have some guest judges from other companies. So again, we've got a lot of stuff planned for this. It's gonna be really exciting. It's gonna kick off this summer. So really, really excited about this. Looking forward to it. So with that being said, we're getting ready to get kicked off here with more Saturday AM stuff. So let's jump right in with any comments or questions want to get brought up. Of course, if you guys want to buy ads, we are right there. So if you guys want to check out some ads, please do. We're looking forward to it. And that way you can reach some amazing fans and people around the world. One of the things about advertising with us is that because we are supported by people who love and support independent creators, this gives you a chance to do the same thing. So it's a huge opportunity, and we hope you guys will check that out. So again, as I said, we will be available for a couple of questions. Are there any questions you guys have that you guys want to make as it relates to that? We're going to look at some great artwork generated by Andrea Voros, done with Chameleon markers. Any comments or questions? We've announced tonight everything that we talked about from so Fan Art Friday. We don't have an official start date yet. We know it's going to be summer, so we're thinking possibly July, possibly August, but I think it's probably going to be somewhere between July and August. And again, some discussions that we've had with companies like Chameleon, there's some really, really cool things we've got planned for it. So we're looking forward to this. We're looking really, really forward to it. We're seeing a lot of the same folks here. That was great. But folks, I have no problem. If you want to throw the smoke, I'd be happy to address it. I've been doing this for 20-some years, so by all means, come at me if you'd like to. Otherwise, if folks want to ask questions about the actual tournament and things, please feel free to. John Mendoza, the rules of summer of manga planned out. Yeah, a little bit. So as I said before, we're going to put the blog post together that goes into more detail about it. And so we're going to have, more details in terms. I know one of the big things is always genre. It's always a question of what genre can you actually do. But we will definitely put that together and go from there. Modern Comics says, would you consider a turn between past champions? Yeah, we talked about doing it this year. So we actually talked about trying to get back Bailey and a few other people and stuff and see if they would be interested in doing it. And it, again, it's our fourth year. We don't have, it only happens once a year. So again, we still got some time to build it the right way. But I think that, one thing we learned with Saturday AM is that, you got to, one thing I've always told White and Raymond and Andrea and everybody is that, you're going to get haters, you're going to get all sorts of people and stuff. The thing that no one can take away from you is that you consistently try, right? That's something no one can take away from you is you consistently try. Because when you consistently try, then you consistently put out work. And the more work you put out, you then have a body of work. And that body of work then speaks volumes to any hater or anybody who wants to take shots at you. The volume speaks volumes. And so with that being the case, then that's kind of where you end up with a situation like March Art Madness. When we first did it, we didn't expect it to be as popular as it became. First year was decent. Second year was bigger. Third year was the biggest. And then this year was bigger than that year. So I think, what we think is that we definitely will try to do some really kind of like stunt tournaments and stuff where it's like, hey, take on White Manga or battle Bailey Boutel. We certainly will try to do stuff like that, but I think we still got a little ways to go to perfect it and to continue to build the credibility of it up. And we're going to keep doing that until we get to that point. But yeah, that sort of stunt thing is going to happen eventually. Let's see here. Doom Santana. Does it matter what type of paper you use, panel and ink your pages for a comic? I don't know. Artists, any of you guys want to chime in on that regarding the paper?
I'm all digital, so I'm not the right person to ask for that.
It's all digital.
I honestly don't think it matters what kind of paper you use, but if you do want to use something professional, definitely look for A4 paper. I actually have one right here. Let me read what the actual thing is. I think it's Maxon. That's what I was using when I was doing everything traditional. But if you plan on drawing a comic, you should definitely switch to digital because it's a lot easier to erase and manipulate whatever image you're trying to draw.
All right. Let's see here. How are you, Sergey? We're fine. We continue to grow. This year is a really important year for us. We're trying to do a lot of big things. And we're trying to push out in areas that are really, really difficult. So, we're going to see if we can make it all work this year. But, Andrea recently got married. And one of the things that she said to me, which I thought was the best thing I've ever heard was, she's like, well, you guys are family. And I thought that's what makes Saturday so special is that, we've been doing this now for 5 years. Many of us have been together 4 or 5 years, which is rare at our level. And so when you have that level of camaraderie and friendship, and it does become like a family. And so we're going to keep trying. We got a long way to go, but this year is going to be a really important year for us. So we're doing well, but we got a lot of work to do. Rashad says, weird question. I noticed the new look to the website and really loved it. Will there be more of that? Yeah, first of all, thank you. And yes, we're going to keep trying to do more work on the website. We've been talking about it quite a bit. Raymond and I are talking about stuff with it. White has always had some great suggestions for it. So we're going to keep trying, and eventually we'll get there. Let's see. Next up is Next up is I Am Soul says, any thoughts on guest judges from big publishers? Yes. So we recently went to Comics Pro. I've talked about this in the past. And Comics Pro was a big international retailer show, and it was myself and Raymond, and we had a chance to meet a lot of companies, big publishers, DC, Marvel, Image, IDW, and we were told that we were one of. In fact, I just got an email tonight actually from one of the people we met there, but we were told that we were one of the most exciting things that they had heard about this year. That our brand and our presentation and the work that we produced, and we had a bunch of our graphic novel stuff there, that it was the talk of the show. That we were literally told that by a couple of people. So we hope that in the next year we will have a chance to interact more with some of these big comic companies in ways that would be strategic and would allow us to use them to help us build more of our brand, and conversely maybe help us help them attract maybe some different audiences, new audiences, things like that. So we'll see, but we certainly believe we can get some vendors, get some judges from big companies. Let's see. A lot of art questions. You guys are answering those. That's fantastic. Our artists are answering the art questions. Let's see. Anything else? Any other questions that we can answer, that I can answer about just the business? Otherwise, again, as everyone said earlier, I hope you guys will follow our artists. You can simply go back. I'll put the links as well into once this finishes and propagates. Then I can go in and edit it. I'll put in a new chapter cover. I'll put in a new YouTube thumbnail. And I'll also put in the links to each of these amazing artists so you can find them and find out where each of these artists is at on social media and continue to support them. That's the best way to see what these guys are doing. So any other questions that we can get to? Anything else regarding the business of Saturday AM? Let's see. I'm so says, when can we expect the next update on this? The next update in terms of things that we're doing, like I said, the podcast starts next week, and that will have the first pitches that we receive from those who are pitching us comic series and stuff. And after that, we will get additional stuff that we can do. We'll be making other announcements. So I think, definitely Summer of Manga is first. That information will be available first. You guys can then actually do some stuff in it. The second thing that we do will be we'll start announcing stuff for the month of macabre manga, and then the last thing will be we'll announce will be Fan Art Fridays. And so each time we do it, it'll be all of our social media. So follow us on social media. Follow these guys on social media. But the minute we announce everything, you'll be able to find it, and then hopefully you'll be able to, submit your stuff in. Folks, the best way to do this, and I've said this before in previous videos and stuff, is to subscribe. Because if you subscribe to the magazine, not only do you get exclusive content, not only do you get to do things exclusively, but you also get more stuff beyond that. So please subscribe to the magazine. Subscribe to all of our social media, of course, but subscribe to the magazine, and that helps us out tremendously. Let's see here. Let's see. I saw another good question. Will Saturday AM be starting any field of animation? The Mutton Chop guys, Anthony and Barat, two amazing young creators, are working on the second short for one of the series that we published called Mutton Chop. And once we get that going, I'm hoping we're working really hard to try to see if we can get stuff put together for attending a show where we can finalize some deals in the space of animation. So I'm working on that. That's one of the things I have to try to work on in between all this other stuff. So hopefully we'll have some stuff to announce soon. But yes, that's always been the plan, is to do animation. But as I've said before, the only way it really works if you're an independent creator is first you have to actually prove that you have a brand and that you sell. No one is going to give you money to make animation if you don't actually have something that sells. Look, I can't say no one, but the odds are extremely difficult. So with that being said, then you want to try to make sure that you can, get stuff in there, and therein lies the challenge. So, yep. So that's what we're hoping for. And if you guys, continue to support us, then you will see the anime sooner rather than later. Let's see here. Someone says, I'm saying all the positive notes here, and I do appreciate that, obviously. We work extremely hard to do this stuff, and it's very, very difficult. So it's a huge time-consuming thing. So it's always appreciative when we get people who respect us for the work that we're doing. It's always much appreciated. Let's see here. Let's see. Someone had a really nice question. I saw. I forgot what it was. Someone asked about, do you stick with one or minimal projects at a time? Someone says they have so many ideas, but they flop back and forth. It's a struggle. It is a struggle, and that's why, I've said before, and I say constantly that the challenge with this stuff, the thing that has allowed Saturday AM to succeed, has been that I came from a corporate background, and so we run this thing like a company, and so that means you have to stay focused. You have to operate with the standpoint that you're here to service your fan base. And the thing that I've said over and over again, if you watch my old videos, is that, look, at the end of the day, people who like you on social media or pop in onto your YouTube channel or things like that, 9 times out of 10, they're not a fan, they're not a customer, and they're not family. So you don't owe them anything. What you owe are to people who actually support you. Those people you owe everything to. And so that's always been the mentality that we've operated Saturday AM in. It's always been the thing that we try to get our creators to recognize is that you owe a debt to the people who support us financially, who subscribe. It's nice to have fans, but the people who are true fans are the ones who actually support you financially. And so from that standpoint, that's how we always focus things. So that helps you keep one idea in your head when that's the idea, is that you've got something that people like, and you want to make sure that you satisfy them. That prevents you from trying to worry about creating 65 different ideas. Stay focused on one idea, and if people like it, then give them more of that, and do it really well. Get better and better at it, and eventually you'll be able to support yourself on it. And eventually, if you do it well and you've got books and people are buying them and so forth, then someone will come to you and want to make a movie or an animation or an action figure line or a video game, and that's how it works, folks. As simple as that. Let's see. So we do we'll do 5 more minutes. We'll wrap up here at 12:20. Let's see. Will subscribers get things special regarding Summer of Manga? Yeah, we detailed that, but we'll detail it again in the future. I think I'll have a blog post up this week where you guys will be able to check that out. So any last questions, folks? Any last questions that we can answer? We'll give 5 more minutes, and then we'll call time on this episode. Thank you, Autumn Arts Adventures. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Again, the show, this is, again, like I said, staying focused. We did this, and again, we've done it for a couple of years. We've always had people who get into their feelings a little bit about it because they're not used to someone critiquing their artwork. And the reality is that, we do this show for the artist. But the flip side of this is that, as I said at the beginning of this episode, is that there are a lot of people who witness the critiques and enjoy them. And so that's why, I'm not Simon Cowell, and none of our guys are Simon Cowell. We're not here to try to tear people apart, but we are here to be honest. And through that honesty, it creates, a little bit of entertainment. It also helps to inform somebody who maybe can't enter this year, but wants to enter next year. And it gives them the tools to understand what they have to do to compete. Again, as I said before, Bailey Boutel, who won outright in 2018, participated in 2017. And it was only because he went through that process and got beat in the very last round that he was determined to come back and win it. And he brought thunder that second year. He brought absolute thunder and killed it. And so that's life. That's how life is. That's as professional as it gets. Is you look at Tiger Woods this weekend, whatever you think of Tiger Woods, he picked himself back up and he won. So you've got to, take the critiques, take the criticism, go through the process, learn the challenge, pick up traits, pick up skills, pick up confidence, do it again and again and again, and eventually you win. And that's how life is. So yeah, the subscribers, if you support us, there'll be some things for Summer of Manga that'll be in there, and there'll be some things in there as well for a month of macabre manga, and there'll be some things in there also for Fan Art Friday. So there will be some advantages to being a subscriber. We want to make sure the people who've been with us and helped us get to this point, that we always pay them back in some way. All right, so about a minute left, folks. Any other questions? All right. I don't know about another Comic-Con because we're so focused on big stuff right now, trying to get our books into bookstores and things like that. But I do want to, again, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank all the artists, 64 artists from around the world, even those who unfortunately had poor attitudes. We want to thank everybody because, again, this is not easy. We don't build this as an easy art tournament. It's not an easy art tournament. But it's a tournament that I believe in because I think it makes better artists. And again, we've got proof of that. More importantly, it's a great competition because it means that we get to see and expose, not just to people watching the videos, by the way, or going to the website, but to companies like Chameleon. We get to expose great artists who get recognized by big multi-million-dollar companies. Like I said, I could go on and on about this, but this event is everything. And so I'm really proud of all the artists. I'm proud of my artists who participated in or judges tonight and who've been judges in the past, like Morgan Walker and Blake Showers. For those folks who just simply got the word out about the event, like Anthony and Barat, Tony Dawkins, and a number of our Better Off Ignorant guys, Austin and Lukeman. Again, folks, this tournament has been an absolute ride this year. I want to thank everyone who participated in, all the finalists, all the staff, all the artists, all the creators, and all the viewers. Thank you guys so much for this. Please go support Chameleon. They make some fantastic products. We have a great video up on our YouTube channel right now from Jay Oden showing how to use the markers and what his initial thoughts are. And that's not our review, but it's his initial thoughts. We've got some more great content coming, some exclusive YouTube shows. We have Saturday FM podcast hitting next week. Issue 102 is coming into your mailboxes here within probably the next hour, your email boxes. And we've got some great stuff happening. Saturday PM issue number 4 is out. I saw a comment about that earlier. Thank you for the kind words to that. We worked really hard on that issue. Hats off to all the creators of that: Robert Burhans, Jeffrey John Luis, Raymond Brown, the design team, Jonathan and Conme, Peter Doney, who was the editor of that, and of course, J.R. DeBard, who did the beautiful Underground comic. Folks, again, we appreciate it. This is Saturday AM. Any last words, White?
I just want a big shout out to everybody who participated in this, and I'd like to thank everyone who's watching this as well. I think this was a blast, and I think it's been successful so far. And yeah, it's been fun.
All right, Bailey, any final words?
Just thanks for having me. It's been great. Yeah, it's been an honor working with you guys and seeing all the great art in March Madness this year. You know, I'm pretty emotionally attached to the March Madness experience, so reliving that through other artists was really cool. And congratulations to Jay Sonas.
Absolutely. Andrea, any final words?
I can only join in that, yeah, this was a really nice experience. This year was even better than the previous years, and congrats to all of the artists. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next year's March Art Madness.
All right, Jay?
Thank you everybody for participating in this as an artist and also as an audience. Thank you also for just being great supporters. We really appreciate everything that you guys do for us, and we're going to continue and try to be the best company we can be. So yeah.
Goldie. All right, Raymond, any final words from you, sir?
Yeah, same. Congratulations to Jason S and everybody who's won the little mini, the stuff from Chameleon and stuff like that. So, thanks everybody for, tuning in, checking us out. The comments, good or bad, it's great to have this kind of engagement from people. So, people, we're passionate about it. The people who watch it are passionate about it. So, really, really good time.
Awesome. All right. Well, guys, again, thank you so much for this. Again, here's the web address, Chameleon Art Products. Please go check this out. If you go there, you have a chance to get the a 10% off of your purchase you want to make. They make excellent markers. We'll be doing reviews for them soon. Some more videos about the product. So please check them out. ChameleonArtProducts.com. And remember, you can save 10% off an order when you use the code SATAM, SATAM. Saturday AM, folks. Again, thank you so much. We will see you guys very, very soon. If you want to relive everything in this tournament, all the gorgeous artwork, there's over 100 pieces of extraordinary artwork featuring really cool concepts, fan art, characters from all over media, video games, anime, manga, Netflix shows, comic books. You can find it all right there at the web address, folks. Thank you so much. We will be back again soon. It's Frederick, founder and publisher, Saturday AM, saying good night.